Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve. Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into a time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
A Tuesday full of crime as we salute this date back in 1946 with episodes of Boston Blackie starring Dick Kollmar and an episode of Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Then we'll head to 1945 for an episode of Sherlock Holmes, an episode of Gangbusters from 1949, and go back to 1941 on this date for an episode of Superman. That's all straight ahead. On this Tuesday, this is the 7th day of May, 128th day of the year, 238 days left until we get to 2025. Joan of Arc ended the siege of Orleans on this date in 1429, pulling an arrow from her own shoulder and returning wounded to lead the final charge. The victory marked a turning point in the 100 Years' War. In Philadelphia on this date in 1847, the American Medical Association founded. In 1945, Germany signed an unconditional surrender at Allied headquarters in Rheims, France, to take effect the following day, ending the European conflict of World War II. A recording made 3 days earlier by General Eisenhower was broadcast.
Throughout the United Nations, the rejoicing bells peal forth. Those bells voice our happiness that the Nazi scourge has been eliminated from the earth. But for the remaining enemy of humankind, Japan, those bells are sounding an imminent doom.
Now, while a lot of people already started, the first word of this came through, a lot of people immediately started celebrating, but the victory celebration would officially begin the following day on May 8th. And let me tell you, give you a look ahead tomorrow to our show. We're going to, it is tomorrow's show. We will have On a Note of Triumph, and a fine show written by Norman Corwin and narrated by Martin Gable. It was a wonderful dramatic production and something that the nation needed to hear on that date. That was so many years ago. It was on this date in 1946, Tokyo Telecommunications Engineering founded with about 20 employees. That company today known as Sony. In 1960, Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev announced his nation was holding a U-2 pilot, Gary Powers, as a spy. He was shot down over Russia, flying a U-2, spying on Russia. 1964, Pacific Airlines Flight 773, a Fairchild F-27 airliner, crashed near San Ramon, California, killing all 44 aboard. FBI later reported a cockpit recorder tape indicated the pilot and co-pilot had been shot by a suicidal passenger. 1992, Michigan ratified a 203-year-old proposed amendment to the Constitution, making the 27th Amendment, barring Congress from giving itself a midterm pay raise, making it law. Now, in 1992, Space Shuttle Endeavour launched on its maiden voyage. 1998, Mercedes-Benz bought Chrysler for $40 billion, formed Daimler-Chrysler in the largest industrial merger in history. That $40 billion would be over $77 billion today. Scandal rocking the Catholic Church on this date in 2002 with the arrest and arraignment of Reverend Paul Shankly, accused of sexually molesting a minor.
It is over a period of 6 years, between 1983 and 1990. The offenses alleged occurred on diverse dates on almost a weekly basis. The complainant has alleged that the defendant would take him out of a CCD class at St. Jean's Parish in Newton and bring him to various places, the rectory, the confessional, and in the bathroom of the rectory.
Deputy District Attorney Lynn Rooney of Middlesex County, Massachusetts, in February of 2005, almost 3 years later, Shangley found guilty of indecent assaults and the rape of a male minor and received a sentence of 12 to 15 years in prison. In 2004, American businessman Nick Berg beheaded by Islamic militants. The act recorded on videotape and released over the internet. Passing away on this date in history, actor Guy Williams, musician Eddie Rabbitt, and actor Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Born on this date in history, the Russian composer Tchaikovsky, also Gabby Hayes, also actor Gary Cooper, Argentinian First Lady Eva Perón, actor Darren McGavin, actress Ann Baxter, comedian Toadie Fields, very funny lady, the lady who sang about music, Teresa Brewer, and pro wrestler Owen Hart. Tragic death of Owen Hart on this date. But no, he was born on this date, I should say, in 1965.
Hi, this is Jeff Foxworthy. It is now time for the birthday announcements. The following people are now officially older than dirt.
Thelma Houston, who had that big hit record back in 1977, Don't Leave Me This Way, not related to Whitney. Thelma Houston turns 78 today. Pro wrestler WWE's Kevin Owens, 40 years old today. From Saturday Night Live, A.D. Bryan is 37, and AEW wrestler, former New Japan star Will Ospreay is 31. Those are a few of the people who were born on this date, the 7th day of May, and if this is your birthday...
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
And we will salute today, May 7th, 1946, a Tuesday 78 years ago, with the news of the day in a few minutes. Also, we'll have an episode of Inner Sanctum Mysteries and an episode of Boston Blackie starring Dick Kollmar. We'll start off with Blackie from 78 years ago, the story of the Winthrope Jewelry Robberies. That's next, here on this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox.
President Biden recently released a massive $6 trillion budget, the largest budget in U.S. history. And guess who pays the bill? That's right, you, the American taxpayer. American citizens and business owners will be paying more taxes. That's a fact. And if you owe back taxes, they will be coming after you to collect payments. In fact, President Biden also hired thousands more IRS agents to go after you. If you got a letter from the IRS and you know you owe back taxes or you haven't filed in years, don't put your head in the sand. Call us today. We've saved our customers millions of tax dollars. One quick, free phone call will show you how we can reduce your past tax bill and save you thousands. Guaranteed, or you pay nothing. Call now.
800-932-1431. 800-932-1431. That's 800-932-1431. Paid for by the Tax Helpline.
And on this Tuesday Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go to a Tuesday 78 years ago, May 7th, 1946. Dick Kollmar starring as Boston Blackie, an episode entitled The Winthrope Jewelry Robberies.
Hey, Blackie. Blackie, come on, wake up. Come on, wake up, Blackie.
What's the matter, Shorty?
Nothing's the matter, Blackie. There's an insurance man here who wants to see you.
Well, tell him I don't want any.
I told him that, but he says he don't want to sell you nothing. He wants to give you something.
Yes, $10,000, Blackie.
Who are you?
He's the insurance guy, Blackie.
I'm sorry to disturb you so early in the morning, Blackie, but I'm Emil Barnes, agent for the Rodley Insurance Company.
Well, that doesn't sound like any reason to wake me up. And I'm going back to sleep.
Perhaps you'll open your eyes for $10,000?
For that, I wouldn't even open one eye.
No?
No. Go away, little man. I'm sleepy.
I realize that, and I hate to be so persistent, but, Blackie, I want you to do something for me.
I want you to do something for me, too. Leave me alone.
I won't offer you money again, Blackie. Instead, I'll offer you a mystery. A mystery I'll guarantee you can't solve.
And now back to Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. Enemy to those who make him an enemy. Friend to those who have no friend.
Barnes, you think there is a mystery I can't solve?
Well, solving this one calls for an expert, Blackie.
Is that so?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Shorty, should I be modest or should I admit he came to the right man?
Oh, just be yourself, boss, and solve it for him.
Thank you, Shorty. And now, Barnes, what's this mysterious mystery I can't solve?
Well, it's this, Blackie. My company carries the theft insurance for the Winthrope Jewelry Company. Now, almost every day for the last month, a diamond has been stolen from the workroom where the diamonds are set into. Rings, clips, brooches, and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are 3 diamond setters in the shop, and we know one of the 3 is guilty.
Which one?
Well, that we don't know, Blackie. Nor do we know how the diamonds are stolen. You see, all 3 of the men in the shop are searched when they leave.
They're searched at the end of the day, you mean?
Yes.
Oh, what about when they go out to lunch?
They don't go out to lunch. All 3 of them bring their lunches to work and eat in the shop. They never go out during working hours, and no visitors are allowed to come in.
Hey, I know a way to stop the diamonds from disappearing. Fire all 3 diamond setters.
Well, I suggested that to Mr. Winthrop, the owner of the company, but he doesn't think that it's fair to the 2 men who are not taking diamonds.
He has a point there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Find out how the diamonds are being taken out of the shop. Now, understand, all 3 men are thoroughly searched. Not one of them has ever had a diamond on him. Yet almost every day a diamond is missing.
That's very intriguing.
Mm-hmm.
Who are these 3 men?
Well, there's Hans Van Houten. He's an expert diamond setter from Holland. He's been with the Winthrope Company for 20 years.
Uh-huh.
And then there's, young John Glass. He's Van Houten's protege. And the newest member of the trio is Jim Aldrich, a young man from Georgia.
I see. Well, I'd say you have 2 mysteries, Mr. Barnes.
Yes?
Who is taking those diamonds, and how are they being smuggled out?
Blackie, I've made plans for you to go to the shop later today as an employee of the Winthrope Company. Under another name, of course. You'll be John Jones.
You've made plans for me already, huh?
Uh-huh.
Pretty sure I'd take this case, weren't you?
Yes, I was. The method of stealing those diamonds has to be ingenious. It must interest a man like you. Well, doesn't it?
Not much, Barnes. Give me 30 seconds to get dressed, and I'll be right with you.
Here is an order for 3 2-carat diamonds to be set in a platinum ring. Jim, this job I will give to you.
Thanks, Van Houten. Soon as I'm through with this polishing machine.
Think you ought to trust him with diamonds, Van Houten?
Why not, John?
I know why he says not to trust me. Glass here thinks that I'm the guy who's stealing the diamonds.
John, you should not say such things.
Well, one of us is taking the diamonds out of here, and I know I'm not, and I don't think it's you, Mr. Van Houten, so who's left?
I'm left. But either you or your pal Van Houten can be taking them. Maybe both. How much are you selling them for, huh?
Why, you dirty...
Take your hands off of me.
Sure, I'll take my hands off you.
Boys, please, boys, no fighting. It'll do no good to fight. Fighting will not bring back the stolen diamonds. Fighting will not prove who is guilty of this terrible thing. We must not fight.
I agree with you, Van Houten.
Good afternoon, Mr. Winthrop.
Hello, Mr. Winthrop.
Hello,
It's
Mr.
closing time, gentlemen. You'll go out to be searched as usual.
Right,
Yes,
sir?
yes.
But before you go, I'd like you to meet a new employee, Mr. John Jones. He'll work in here with you.
Hello, fellas.
Hello.
Mr. Jones, this is Van Houten.
How do you do, Mr. Jones?
He's in charge here, and this is his protege, John Glass.
How do you do, sir?
And this is Jim Aldrich.
How do you do, sir?
Hiya, Jim.
You're sure going to like it here, Mr. Jones. We get searched like a bunch of thieves every time we leave work. But the diamonds keep disappearing just the same.
Well, gentlemen, Mr. Barnes of the insurance company's in the outer room ready to search you. This won't go on much longer, though.
No. Why not?
You know who's taken the diamonds?
Mr. Barnes told me this morning that he's on the verge of naming the guilty one. Thinks the case is as good as solved.
Oh, he does.
Now, you'd better go in and be searched.
See you in the morning, fellas.
Right. So long.
All right, Blackie. You're free to look around now.
Thanks, Mr. Winthrop. But I'd like to look around my way, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
Will you send my assistant Shorty in?
Right away.
Thanks. And let me know as soon as Barnes has finished searching those three, will you?
I certainly will. It'll be some time, though. We make the search very thorough. Even use a fluoroscope. Oh, Shorty, you may go in now.
Oh, thanks, sir. Hi, Blackie. Hey, this is some swell joint, huh?
As joints go, Shorty. Well, let's look around.
Okay, boss. But for what?
Oh, nothing much. Merely a clue as to how one of the three men who work in this room managed to steal a diamond almost every day without being caught.
Maybe the thief swallows it.
No, short one, not that way. The suspects are put under a fluoroscope. That would detect a diamond if they swallowed it.
Oh. Well, where do we start looking, Blackie?
Right here. Let's see now. Where are we?
Right here in the middle of a room.
And what do we see?
Well, I see a small safe, a workbench, and a door.
That's the washroom, according to the sign.
And I see 2 windows. Blackie, the windows. That's how the thief gets the diamonds out. He throws them out the window.
Maybe you should have stayed home, Shorty. You know where we are?
Sure, in this room.
Do you know where this room is? It's on the 12th floor, and this side of the building faces the river.
Oh.
So
I'm not so smart, huh? Anything thrown out the window would drop into the river.
Now you're being a little bit smarter.
Hey, what's this on the little wall here?
Let's have a look, Shorty.
Just coat hangers.
Oh, yes, on a shelf. This is where Van Houten, Glass, and Aldrich put their lunch boxes.
Lunch boxes?
Yes, Shorty. They have their lunches right here. That proves the diamonds aren't taken out during the lunch hour.
Hey, Blackie, that means the only time they could carry out a diamond is after work. And that's now, huh?
And now they're being searched, but thoroughly. Just as they're always searched, but thoroughly. Hey, what's this thing here?
Looks like a piece of corn, Blackie.
I can just get it out of this crack on the floor. There. Ah, it is corn.
Oh, I know how that got there. One of the 3 guys who work here had corn on a cob for lunch. Which reminds me, Blackie, I'm hungry. How much longer are we going to stay here, huh?
Not much longer. I've looked the place over from top to bottom and haven't found anything. All we have to do now is wait for a report that Barnes has finished searching Van Houten, Glass, and Aldrich, and that should be very soon.
Gee, boss, how was that guy getting the diamonds out of here?
I don't know, Shorty. This mystery is everything Barnes said it would be. The diamonds can't be thrown out the window. They'd be lost in the river.
And they can't be carried out because all 3 guys are searched.
They can't be hidden in here because there's no place to hide them.
Uh-huh.
Barnes himself figured that out a long time ago.
Oh, Blackie.
Oh, yes, Mr. Winthrop. Has Barnes finished searching those 3?
Yes, he's already left. You could probably catch him if you want him, though. We found nothing on the men.
The fluoroscope showed nothing either?
Not a thing. Do you know how this has been done?
You've searched them and found nothing? You can search me.
What's the trouble here? What's the trouble?
Guy's been shot.
All right, now, step back, all of you. Let me see here. Let me see. Shot to death.
What's the matter here, officer? Uh-oh.
Stand back, mister. This fellow's been shot.
That's Barnes, Emil Barnes from the insurance company.
You know him, huh?
Only slightly, officer. He was doing a little investigation for the Winthrope Jewelry Company.
Oh, you don't say. He left the Winthrope Company just now, huh?
Yes, and so did I. I was trying to catch up with him. But it looks like somebody caught up with him before I did.
Mr. Winthrop, I'm Faraday, police inspector. I'd like to talk to you about the murder of Emil Barnes.
Of course, Inspector.
Hello, Faraday.
Blackie, what are you doing here?
Believe it or not, Faraday, I work here.
That's right, Inspector.
Work here? Blackie, you never did a lick of work in your life.
Well, I haven't done anything since I first met you. I haven't had time. I've been too busy solving your cases.
Come on, why are you here?
He's employed here, Inspector, as a diamond setter.
What?
It's all very simple, Faraday. Even you should be able to understand it. You're here to investigate the death of Emil Barnes, aren't you?
Yes. And I suppose you know who killed him.
I do. One of 3 men, Faraday. Van Houten, Glass, or Aldrich. Because one of these 3 is stealing diamonds from the diamond setting room.
Stealing diamonds? What's that got to do with
Barnes' death? Everything. Barnes was trying to find out how the diamonds were being stolen. He couldn't do it, so he asked me to try. I just started working.
I suppose you've solved the case already.
No, I haven't any idea how it's done. The diamond setting room is on the 12th floor, facing the river, and all 3 diamond setters are thoroughly searched before they leave the shop.
But the diamonds keep on disappearing, Inspector.
Well, they do, huh? And what about today?
Today, Faraday, I'll guarantee one thing. A diamond isn't missing.
Blackie, you just guaranteed Inspector Faraday a diamond would not be missing?
Well, I don't see how one could be.
I don't either. But my inventory report shows that another diamond has been stolen today.
Now back to Boston Blackie. Blackie is involved in a mystery which even he feels that he cannot solve. 3 men work in a diamond setting shop from which a diamond disappears almost every day. The 3 men are searched every time they leave the shop, but no diamond is ever found on them. No visitors are allowed in the shop, and the only windows in the room, which is on the 12th floor, face on a river. To add to Blackie's troubles, Emil Barnes, insurance agent investigating the thefts, is murdered, obviously by one of the 3 suspects. As we return to our story, Blackie and Mary Wesley are in a small cafe having a midnight snack.
Cheer up, Blackie. After you've had something to eat, you'll sleep.
I don't deserve to eat, Mary. I'm sure this case isn't as tough as I'm making it. If I could just find a clue.
First find something on this menu, then you can look for a clue.
Oh, all right. What are you going to have?
Well, I don't know.
Mary, I told you about Van Houten, Glass, and Aldrich, didn't I? Now, which one of those 3 might be a thief and a killer?
I think better after I eat, honey child.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Now, what are you going to have?
You eat, Mary. I don't feel like it. I have all the food I want. And it's all for thought. This kernel of corn, for instance. Now, why in the deuce
Darling,
would that...
you can stare at that piece of corn if you want to, but you're going to feed more than that to me. That is bird food, and I'm a growing girl.
Order the biggest steak in the house. If it... Bird food. Mary, I've got it.
Got what?
The answer. I know how it's done.
How... what was done?
Where's the telephone?
Well, it's right in back of you.
Come on, I'll tell you and Faraday at the same time.
Well, hey, wait for me.
Well, come on.
Honey, do you think it's smart to call Inspector Faraday in the middle of the night like
I'm
that?
smart at all hours, Mary.
Oh, aren't you modest?
No, just happy.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, Faraday. This is Blackie.
Who?
Your old pal, Blackie. Wake up, Faraday.
Blackie, what's the idea of calling me up?
In the middle of the night? Sorry, pal, but I can't solve your cases at your convenience.
What case have you solved now? You think?
I know how those diamonds get out of the setting room at the Winthrope Company.
Oh, you do, huh? I suppose they fly out the window.
They sure do, Faraday.
Did you wake me up to tell me jokes?
No, Faraday. To tell you the case is solved.
The diamonds fly out the window.
Yes, attached to homing pigeon's legs.
Sure. Huh?
The guy ties a diamond to the leg, and the pigeon flies home, because that's what it's trained to do.
Hey, you might have something there.
I think I've got the answer. Those guys aren't searched when they go into the shop, only when they go out.
I know that. How does the homing pigeon get into the shop?
Well, the thief brings them in a lunchbox. And the lunchbox is empty when the guy leaves, because by that time the pigeon and the diamond have also gone out the window.
Uh-huh.
Look, Faraday.
Yeah?
I want you to come up to the shop at Winthrop's tomorrow morning early and search those lunchboxes.
Okay. But what if I don't find a pigeon?
Well, then I have a second plan in that case. But you'll find a pigeon, I'm sure. And when you do, the little birdie will also tell you who killed Emil Barnes.
You are having trouble polishing the diamond, Mr. Jones. I may help you, perhaps.
No, thanks, Van Houten. I'm getting it.
Hey, Jones,
Yes, Mr. Glass?
what was that Inspector Faraday doing here a little while ago?
I don't know.
I know.
Do you, Aldrich?
I think he was looking through our coats and lunch boxes for a clue.
What's the matter, Aldrich? Got a guilty conscience?
Not especially.
Not much.
Boys, we must not argue. It will not help anyone. If one of us is stealing the diamonds, the police will... answer the phone, someone.
I'll get it. Hello?
Mr. Jones, please.
Just a minute. For you, Jones.
Thanks.
Hey, up.
Now let us get to work. There's much to do. We don't...
Hello?
Blackie, this is Faraday.
Oh, yes.
You wanted me to look in the lunch boxes, huh?
Yeah.
You said I'd find a pigeon in one of them.
Yes?
Well, what do you think I found in those lunch boxes?
What?
Lunch.
No.
Yeah, bird brain.
Oh, look, where are you?
In the next office.
Okay. I want to try one more thing. What I told you to do last night. Check?
Yes. I know what I ought to do. Forget you even exist. But I guess I'll go through with the rest of your plan.
When?
When? Now. You go back to your workbench, just as if nothing happened. And I'll come in and throw you out.
Swell. But make it look good.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be enjoying every minute of it. Goodbye.
Who was that, Jones?
Oh, one of the guys in the accounting office downstairs. He thinks that I was...
Blackie, what are you doing here?
Blackie.
Boston Blackie?
Well, I'll be...
I don't know what you'll be, Glass, but I'll be going.
I'll say you will, Blackie. I told you last night to get out of this case. Well, you're all wrong. You're just getting in my way.
And I was just leaving, too, Inspector.
So your name is Jones, huh?
Was.
Spying on us, huh?
Also was.
We do not like spies, Mr. Boston Blackie.
Never mind that, Van Houten. I don't like guys who waste my time. And this guy's been wasting my time with a phony idea how those diamonds were being stolen. Now get out of here, Blackie. Get out and stay out.
Okay, Faraday, you win. I was wrong.
Huh? You admit it. Well, you must be sick.
I am sick, Faraday. Sick of trying to help you out of jams. You get to the bottom of this your own way. I'm going someplace and get well.
Oh, Blackie, I'm glad you got back to your apartment before I did. I was afraid I'd have to wait out here in the hall.
I just had a look around Aldrich's house, Mary.
Oh?
No pigeons. What did you find out about Glass?
He lives at 47 Eastern Street. No pigeons.
Not a sign of any?
Not even a feather.
Then everything depends on what Shorty finds at Van Houten's.
Well, let's hope he finds something.
He has to find pigeons, Mary. I'm sure I'm right. Because if I'm not, there's no way in the world for those diamonds to disappear out of that room. Van Houten has to have pigeons or the whole...
Or what, the whole?
Oh, this is the slickest jewel robbery and the toughest case I've ever heard of.
Uh-oh, I hope that's Shorty.
I hope so. Hello?
Hey, Blackie, this is Shorty.
Yes, Shorty? What did you find out about Van Houten?
Well, he lives at 53 Eastern Street.
53 Eastern Street, huh? That's just a couple of doors away from where Glass lives.
Yeah?
Yeah, but never mind that. What did you find out about Van Houten?
Nothing. I couldn't get into his place.
Why not?
The joint was locked.
Well, did you see any pigeons in the neighborhood?
Sure, Blackie, but they was all over at the church and the firehouse across the street. Not around Van Houten's.
All right, Shorty. Thanks. Where are you going to be? I may want to get in touch with you later.
I'll be at home, Blackie.
All right, goodbye.
So, Van Houten had no pigeons.
Shorty couldn't find out, Mary. Which means that Van Houten is still a possible suspect. In fact, he's our only one. We know Glass and Aldrich don't have pigeons.
Yeah, but Blackie, you may be wrong entirely. You said Inspector Faraday didn't find a pigeon in any one of the 3 lunchboxes this morning.
Oh, I have an answer to that one, Mary. Van Houten, if he's our man, was playing it smart. While the heat was on, he decided not to bring a pigeon with him.
But you think maybe he'll bring a pigeon tomorrow, huh?
He might. I had Faraday throw me off the case, so he would figure that the heat was off. At least that's what I wanted him to figure. I'll see you later, Mary.
Where are you going?
To see how I can get our Holland friend, Mr. Van Houten, in Dutch.
Hey, Blackie, it's miserable up here. Why didn't you tell me we was going to stand up on a roof at this hour of the morning?
The janitor here told me yesterday that Van Houten kept pigeons, so we're here to watch his pigeon cote. And, Shorty, anyone with any sense would know that it'd be on the roof.
I'd rather have no sense and not be here.
You've got something there, short one.
Hey, what time is it?
4:30.
Gee, it's still plenty dark. And those noises the pigeons are making, they're plenty scary.
They are to me, too. Now, stand behind that chimney here. No telling when Van Houten will come up for his pigeon.
He lives downstairs, Blackie. How does he get up here on the roof?
Through that door by the skylight there.
Oh. Well, I better get back here behind the chimney with you, Blackie. He might be able to see me standing here.
I doubt it. It's too dark. Hey, look out. Don't push.
Sorry, Blackie.
If you'd pushed a little harder, I'd be sorry and also dead. Look what's behind us.
Ain't there another building next to this one?
Yes. But it's a good 10-foot jump across through space to the next roof. And if you slip, it's a 6-story drop through space.
Oh, don't talk about that, Blackie. Don't make me feel so good.
Sorry.
Say, What do we do when Van Houten shows?
Well, Whaley gets his pigeon and grab him.
Oh. Hey, Blackie, I'm smaller than you. I can sneak up without him seeing me. Let me grab him, huh?
All right. But wait till he has the pigeon and then... Hey. Look.
Somebody on the roof. Shh. But where'd he come from?
Through that door there.
I didn't see him.
We were looking the other way, talking about falling down between this building and the next.
Oh.
He's over by the pigeon cote.
The pigeon what?
Shh. Can you see what he's doing, Shorty?
Yeah. He's got his arm in that pigeon thing.
Coat.
The coat, yeah.
Now what's he doing?
Well, nothing yet. Yeah. He's reaching in a cubby hole and grabbing a pigeon.
Good.
I grab him now, Blackie?
No, not until he comes out.
He's coming out now.
Where's the pigeon?
I don't see it. Guess it's in his lunchbox. Hey, he's heading for the door down into the building.
We'll grab him, Shorty, quick.
Okay.
Grab
Let me do this.
Grab. What is
Ain't as good as grab, Blackie.
What is it?
Stay where you are, buddy.
Let go of me.
No, you don't get away from me.
I do.
Hey, boss. Blackie's getting away.
I'll say I am.
Hold on, Shorty, I'm coming.
And I'm going.
Hey, Shorty, that wasn't Van Houten. That was John Glass. Come on, let's get after him.
Okay, but he ain't heading for the door.
No, he's going to jump to the roof of the next building.
Blackie didn't make it.
I know. Step back, Shorty, or you may... Wow. That's the end of John Glass.
Oh, gosh, Blackie, 6 stories down. Hey, Blackie, please stay away from that edge. Do you want to go down there after him?
Yes, Shorty, I do. But I think I'll do it the long way. I'm going to walk down.
Blackie, how many pigeons are there in this park?
I don't know, Mary. Why?
Well, I want to know how many more pigeons you're going to feed before you feed me.
Oh, you're not only hungry, but ungrateful, Mary. Thanks to a pigeon, I solved the most baffling jewel robbery I've ever come across.
I take it all back. That John Glass certainly had a clever idea, didn't he?
A little too clever. He got the idea when he became friendly with Van Houten and saw how the homing pigeons came back from wherever he released them. He used Van Houten's pigeons to fly the diamonds back here, and Van Houten didn't know a thing about it.
Say, what did he use for the pigeons to carry the diamonds in?
A small round capsule. He found several of them in the pigeon cote, and one with the diamond still in it.
Well, that certainly proved what you already knew, didn't it?
Yes, it did. Too bad Winthrope made that remark in front of Glass about Barnes, the insurance man, having the case almost solved. That's why Glass killed Barnes.
Not too bad, and Barnes was just referring to your being in on the case, wasn't he?
Yes.
Shame. Hey, but there's one thing I would like to know.
What?
Well, you worked with those 3 diamond setters for a whole day and a half. How'd you get away with it? You don't know anything about diamonds.
Are you kidding? I don't know anything about diamonds.
From 78 years ago, Tuesday, May 7th, 1946, Dick Kollmar as Boston Blackie. We'll take a look at the news from that Tuesday when Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues on this Tuesday.
In times of economic uncertainty and chaos, your money means nothing. You may not even be able to get it from your bank or ATM. And the money you do have in the stock market will go down and down. What you can bank on is gold and silver. Gold and silver have been a reliable and trusted form of currency for thousands of years. Gold and silver have never been worth zero, and typically gold holds its value during economic turmoil. Call the Gold Hotline now and learn how to protect your money and your assets with gold and silver. And learn how to set up a new IRA or roll over your current one into a gold-backed IRA. Protect your money from the next market crash with gold and silver. Call now for your free gold guide.
800-515-6302. 800-515-6302. 800-515-6302. That's 800-515-6302.
We continue our salute to Tuesday, May 7th, 1946, here on this edition of Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox by moving from Boston Blackie to a look at the newspapers on that Tuesday, 76 years ago today. In an atmosphere of tension and crisis, John L. Lewis assembled the policy committee of his United Mine Workers to report on the status of negotiations for ending the 37-day soft coal strike. The closed-door session conceivably might prove the forerunner of a break in the deadlocked bituminous coal contract dispute. But evidence of optimism was conspicuously absent among the key government officials concerned. There were veiled hints that some administration move was in the making to deal with the snowballing crisis, but no indication when or if it would materialize, except the time was not yet. Great Britain proposed to withdraw its armed forces from Egypt, a decision that provoked a challenge in Commons from Conservative leader Winston Churchill as one of the most monumentous I have heard in the House. Prime Minister Attlee yielded to Churchill's insistence on immediate debate. Attlee announced the Labour government's decision briefly, asserting that Great Britain intends to carry on negotiations for treaty revisions with Egypt as between two nations. Soft coal deliveries to domestic consumers were barred today unless the customer has less than 5 days' supply based on actual needs. The order issued by the Solid Fuels Administration in a series of moves designed to conserve the diminishing supply of coal. Mining has been halted since April 1st by the United Mine Workers strike. The United Nations Security Council presented with a new poster today in the form of a statement by Iranian Ambassador Hussein Allah that the situation in Azerbaijan province had made it impossible for his government to verify whether all Soviet troops had been withdrawn from Iran by yesterday's deadline. An early morning gun battle at the International Harvester Company in Harlan, Kentucky's captive coal mine between Progressive Mine Workers and United Mine Workers, rival unions, left one man dead and at least 6 others wounded. William H. Chestnut, Pennsylvania's Secretary of Labor and Industry, declared the strike is a weapon that harms even him who it defends. In an address prepared for the Pennsylvania Federation of Labor, Chestnut urged appliance of arbitration to all labor disputes. And willingness of AFL United Mine Workers Union officials to aid in providing coal for essential public services despite the mine shutdown was seen by Governor Martin of Pennsylvania. The House Appropriations Committee recommended an unprecedented slash of nearly 50% in the Interior Department's budget for the fiscal year starting July 1st. And Presidential Press Secretary Charles G. Ross said it would be his guess that the name of Herbert F. Goodrich of Philadelphia, judge of the Third U.S. Circuit Court, has been suggested to President Truman for the Supreme Court. And those some of the day's top news stories from the newspapers of Tuesday, May 7th, 1946. And on your radio 78 years ago today, we'll hear next Inner Sanctum Mysteries here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on a Tuesday.
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now. At Insight Mental Health and Wellness, we help and treat all types of depression and mental issues. We will help you use your insurance to get away from it all, to a beautiful, sunny, and tranquil vacation-like environment, so you can recharge yourself. And with the Family Medical Leave Act, you could take the time off you need from work. Plus, with the Affordable Care Act, your treatment could be 100% covered. If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem, use your insurance and get away from it all. Come to sunny California. Call Insight Mental Health and Wellness now.
800-281-8944. 800-281-8944. 800-281-8944. That's 800-281-8944.
And now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we wrap up our salute to May 7th, 1946, a Tuesday, with an episode of Inner Sanctum Mysteries that aired late, 10 o'clock Eastern Time, on Tuesday, May 7th, 1946. This episode entitled, You Could Die Laughing.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soups present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends. This is your host to welcome you once again to the Inner Sanctum. Do come in and join our circle, but watch out you don't get double-crossed. But, you're disturbed by those bodies dangling from the ceiling. Well, you know some people, they just die to come here. Then they hang around week after week and never say a word.
Well, I have a theory about that, Mr. Host.
What's that, Mary?
Maybe the reason they're hanging around is because they think we're going to serve refreshments later on.
Hey, that could be all right.
You know, lots of folks are like that. And who can blame them? When there's good food ahead, they just won't leave. And that's especially true if there's a chance that Lipton tea is on the menu. Now, the reason for that is simply this. Lipton tea is tea at its delicious best because Lipton's has such grand brisk flavor. In fact, brisk is the very word the tea experts themselves use to describe Lipton's full, hearty taste. You'll agree, I'm sure, the very first time you try it, for Lipton's is so lively and full-bodied and satisfying. Yes, it's that brisk flavor that makes more people buy and enjoy Lipton's than any other brand of tea in the world. So whenever you ask for tea, make sure you ask for Lipton tea.
And now, friends, draw close your chairs. If there are no faint hearts among us, we'll begin tonight's tale of terror. A story written especially for Inner Sanctum by Michael Sklar. Our star tonight is Santos Ortega, who plays the role of Elwood Fitch in You Could Die Laughing.
We wanted to escape our problem. Forget about it. So we went to the movies. There was a doctor in the story, and every time he appeared on the screen, I remembered. Halfway through the picture, I couldn't sit there anymore. I nudged Catherine, and we got up and walked out. The street was cold, and dark, and empty.
Elwood, what do you want to do now?
I just want to go back home.
All right, dear.
Get in the car.
Elwood, I want to talk to you.
All right, there's time for that.
Please, dear, let's stop being silly about this thing. Let's face it.
I am facing it.
But you're not.
Don't argue with me.
For heaven's sake, don't you understand? The doctor said you only got a year to live unless we move to Arizona.
Doctors are human. They can make mistakes.
Not 3 doctors.
I don't care.
Oh, why are you so stubborn? Why are you so dead set against Arizona?
You ought to know why, Catherine.
Me?
Yes, you.
Because of me?
Yes. I haven't given you much, Catherine, not even children. But I've been able to make a living. We've been able to get along. What would I do in Arizona without a job and without money?
Elwood, slow down.
I can still drive a car, Catherine.
You're speeding.
Let me alone.
Passing through a red light. Elwood, that man crossing the street. Look out,
Catherine. Did I?
Yes. He's lying on the ground.
Good Lord. He walked in front of the car.
Well, we've got to help him. Is he?
He's dead.
Oh,
I didn't mean to do it. I couldn't help it. It happened so fast.
Better call the police.
Police.
Well, you said he's dead.
The police. Catherine, there's no one but us on the street. Nobody else saw it happen.
What difference does that make?
Get back in the car.
Elwood, are you suggesting
I was
that...
speeding. I passed a red light. And now this. They'll arrest me. They'll put me on trial for manslaughter.
But my...
He's dead, isn't he? We can't help him. It won't do me any good if I go to jail.
But running away, leaving the body...
Catherine, we've got enough troubles without this. We're going to get into the car and drive straight to the garage. I've got a year to live. And I'm not going to spend it in prison.
Good evening, Mr. Fitch. Want me to put the car away for you?
Yes.
Show must have let out early, huh?
We didn't stay to the end, Anne. I didn't care for the picture.
Ah, them pictures. I always tell my wife. Say, what did you hit?
Hit?
Yeah, your front bumper. Blood on it.
That blood... a dog ran in front of the car. Do me a favor, Dan. Wash it off before you put the car away.
Sure thing, Mr. Fitch.
I didn't sleep well that night. Bad dreams, all mixed up. About doctors. They all looked like the man lying on the street. And their faces were covered with blood. I woke up exhausted.
Breakfast is on the table, Elwood.
Just a moment.
That newspaper can wait. Your toast is getting cold.
Oh, here it is.
What are you looking for?
The story.
You mean last night? It's in the newspaper?
Listen to this. Stenger, victim of hit-and-run driver. The body of Augie Stenger, underworld character, was discovered early this morning at the intersection of Broad and Main Streets. Police believe Stenger was the victim of a hit-and-run driver.
The front door.
Yes.
Do you think it's the police?
I don't know. Get a grip on yourself. I'll see who it is.
Morning. You, Mr. Fitch?
Yes. What can I do for you?
I don't like to talk business on the front doorstep.
Business?
It's about last night, that accident.
What accident?
Don't try to act innocent. I saw that hit and run. Now can I come in?
Let me handle this, Catherine. Who are you?
The name is Chandler. I was sitting in my car last night at Broad and Main Street. I saw the accident and I followed you home. Thought I ought to talk to you about it this morning.
What do you want?
The cops are looking for that hit-and-run driver. I'm the only guy that knows you're him. It ought to be worth something for me to keep my mouth shut.
You want money?
Yeah.
Blackmail.
Don't talk to him, Elwood. Send him away.
No, we can't do that, Catherine. He'd go to the police.
But Elwood...
Leave this to me. All right, Chandler. I'll give you the money.
How much?
$500.
That's chicken feed.
1,000.
Yeah, now you're talking sense. When do I get it?
I'll give it to you now. It's in my coat pocket. Here. Here it is. You'll find exactly $1,000 in $20 bills.
Thanks.
Now, get out of here.
Now, wait a minute. Don't get nasty, Fitch. I'm doing you a favor.
You got your money. Now get out.
I'm going. But I'll be back. We call this the first installment.
Elwood, where did you get that money you gave him?
Money?
Last night you said we couldn't go to Arizona because we had no money. Yet you just gave that man $1,000. Where'd you get it?
I was ashamed to tell you. I took it from Stenger.
Stenger?
The man we hit. I put my hand inside his coat to see if his heart was beating. The money was in the inside pocket.
Elwood, how could you?
Don't look at me like that, Catherine. We've been married a long time. Long enough for you to know that I'm not a crook or a murderer.
But to kill a man and then take his money.
Try to understand. All day long I've been thinking. A year to live. A year to live. when you know you're going to die, it does something to you. You forget what's right and what's wrong. I thought, with that $1,000 and the few hundred we've got in the bank, I thought we might be able to go to Arizona after all.
Well, the money is gone.
Yes.
Don't think about it anymore.
How can I stop thinking? You heard what Chandler said? That $1,000 is the first installment. He'll blackmail us out of everything we own.
Chandler.
Shut the door, quick.
Who is it, Catherine?
Shut that door, Mrs. Fitch.
You were here only yesterday. What do you want now?
The cops are after me. You and me are on the same boat.
What have you done? What do they want you for?
Murder.
Murder?
You shouldn't have come here.
I figure this place ought to make a pretty good hideout.
No. You can't stay here.
Who's going to stop me?
I won't allow it, Elwood. I won't have this man in my house.
All right, cut the squawk.
No. I stood a lot in you, Chandler, but stay away from me.
Don't you dare touch him. Elwood! Elwood!
Don't cry, Catherine. I'm all right.
Any more back talk, Fitch?
No.
Okay. I'm moving in.
He took over the house. He used Catherine and me as servants, treated us like dirt. There was nothing we could do about it. Just the three of us, cooped up in that little house. We couldn't go out. Food and cigarettes were sent up from the store. Went on like that until Tuesday morning.
Hush, Elwood. Chandler will hear you.
He can't. He's in the bedroom.
You're going to give yourself up?
I can't stand this anymore. I can't stand it.
Well, do what you think is best, darling.
I've made up my mind. Rather than put up with that man, I'd prefer to go to prison. I'll call the police right now. Hello, operator. Get me police headquarters.
Got a pal at headquarters, Fitch?
Hey, Chandler. Don't point that gun at me.
Cancel that call.
All right. Hello, operator. Operator. Never mind that call to police headquarters. No, nothing's wrong. I just made a mistake. Thank you.
You made your last mistake, Fitch. Imagine that black villain, Jack Chandler. First he blackmails Elwood, then he blackjacks him, and now he blackballs him from using his own telephone. You know what I'd do if I were Elwood? I'd apply for a writ of habeas corpus. That is, if Chandler doesn't turn Elwood into a corpus first.
Things do look bad for Elwood, I must admit, Mr. Host. My, what a lot of unpleasant surprises he's been having.
Yes, and he's in for a lot more, Mary.
Goodness. Well, right now, I'd much rather talk about pleasant surprises.
Well, that's a lady's privilege, Mary. You go right ahead.
A good instance of a pleasant surprise happened to me one of those glorious sunny days last week. Florence Perry and I drove out to the woods to gather spring wildflowers. But we'd scarcely reached the woods when the sky clouded over, and in a few minutes we were chilled to the bone. Back to the car we hurried, figuring the whole afternoon was ruined. And it was then that Florence brought out that pleasant surprise I mentioned. A whole big thermos of heavenly hot Lipton tea. Well, we sat down and had ourselves a regular tea party right there in the woods. Suddenly everything seemed bright and cheery again. Lipton's had certainly saved the day with its bracing, cheery taste, its delightful, brisk flavor. The same thing happens so often with so many folks. Any time during the day, Lipton's is a pleasant, refreshing treat. Tea with a glorious, full-bodied tang that adds extra zest to every occasion. The reason? It's worthwhile remembering, friends. Lipton tea has brisk flavor.
Now, friends, let's get back to those lovely people, Jack Chandler and Elwood Fitch. Chandler the murderer and Elwood the hit-and-run driver. It's quite a pair. Together they make a full house. A moment ago, Elwood tried to give himself up to the police, but Chandler caught him at the telephone.
So, you were going to double-cross me, huh?
No. I was only going to tell the police about myself.
What do you suppose would happen to me when the cops came for you? I ought to kill you right now.
Oh, no.
You shut up. First thing I'm going to do is pull out that phone so you don't make no more calls to headquarters. Yeah. That settles the phone. Now, stand up.
What are you going to...
The door.
Can you see who it is through the window, Fitch?
Yes.
Take a look. But remember, I still got this gun. Don't try any tricks.
It's a man.
Recognize him?
No.
Now listen. Before you open the door, I'm taking your wife into the next room with me. I'll be able to watch you and hear every word you say. You know what I'll do to Mrs. Fitch if you double-cross me.
Yes.
Okay. Now answer the door.
Mr. Fitch? Elwood Fitch?
That's right.
May I come in?
Yes, of course.
I'm Detective Farley from headquarters. Here's my badge. Mind if I ask a few questions?
What about?
Well, I've been assigned to the Stenger case. Familiar with it?
I read about it in the newspaper. A hit-and-run driver.
That's the case. What do you know about it, Fitch?
Why, nothing.
Are you sure?
See here, you don't
You
think...
and your wife went to the movies Friday night, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Did you drive straight to your garage from the movies?
Why, no. It wasn't a good movie, so we left early and went for a ride.
Did you pass the corner of Broad and Main Streets?
No. We went in the other direction.
You're lying, Fitch. I've been checking garages for that hit-and-run car. Your garage man told me you brought your car in Friday night with blood on the bumper.
I told him we ran into a dog.
Don't make me laugh. Your story wouldn't hold up a minute if that fool garage man hadn't washed the blood off.
Are you going to arrest me?
I need evidence first. When I get it, I'll come back.
Blood on the bumper. That cop is wise to you, Fitch.
He said he'd be back.
Sure. He'll be snooping around looking for proof. Yeah, this is one heck of a hideout. I'm leaving.
You're going away?
Yeah, glad of that, ain't you? Well, you got nothing to celebrate.
What do you mean?
I'll need time, plenty of time to get away from the city. I'm not going to leave you here to squeal to the cops as soon as I'm out of the door.
We wouldn't tell the police.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure you don't. I got one murder rap on me already. It might as well be 3.
3?
Elwood, he means it.
Listen, Chandler. I swear we won't tell. Why should we? Remember what you said. We're both in the same boat. The police are after me, too.
You tried to double-cross me once before. I ain't taking any chances.
Please.
There's no use begging. It won't do no good.
When are you going to do it?
Before I go. Sometime after dark.
The rest of that day was a nightmare. Chandler wouldn't let me separate from Catherine. Everywhere we went, everything we did, he was always behind us with that gun in his hand. The gun. I had to take it away from him. He was much younger than I, big and tough. But I had to try. I watched for my chance. It came late in the afternoon. He was lighting a cigarette. He put the gun down on the living room table while he felt in his pockets for a match. Both of us were the same distance from the gun. I made a dive for it.
Hey, get away from that rod.
No, let go.
I'll kill you for this.
Catherine, help me. Grab his hand.
Let go of me. Let go.
Hold him, Catherine. Hang on to him.
He's dead.
I had to shoot him. I had to.
Now what will we do?
I don't know. What would he do if the positions were reversed?
Call the police.
No. The money. The money I gave him. The $1,000 I took from Stenger. He still got it. It's ours again, Catherine. We're going to Arizona.
Arizona?
Don't you see? It's just like it was before he came. We'll take the money and we'll go to Arizona.
But his body...
He's a murderer, he said so himself. We'll put the body into the car, drive out to the suburbs, and leave it on the highway. The police will think it was just another gangster murder. I was just able to squeeze the dead body into the luggage compartment.
Hurry, Elwood. Let's get away before one of the neighbors sees us.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, what's the matter?
The gasoline gauge. It's almost empty.
Oh.
We'll have to stop at the garage. I drove back to the garage. Had Dan fill the tank. And paid him with one of the $20 bills I'd taken from the body of Stenger. Dan gave me a queer look as he brought me the change.
Here you are, Mr. Fitch. 13 gallons out of a $20 bill.
Thanks, Dan.
Oh, by the way, did a detective come around to your house the other day?
Yes, he did.
I hope you don't hold it against me telling him about that blood on the bumper of your car.
Oh, of course not, Dan. Why should I? After all, I had nothing to hide.
No, that's right. Well, you know, to tell you the truth, Mr. Fitch, I was a little suspicious of you. I thought you really might be that hit-and-run driver. Not that it matters much now.
No?
No. The police don't care much now about that driver.
Why not?
Oh, he's small potatoes now. I just heard over the radio that guy Stenger was just about dead even before that hit-and-run driver hit him.
How could that be?
Well, the way the radio explained it, Stenger was shot in the back, and he staggered out into the street, and then a car hit him.
But you said he wasn't killed by the car.
Yeah, that's right. The coroner's inquest showed that he died of a bullet wound. He'd been murdered. The police even know who killed him.
They know the killer's name?
Uh-huh. I heard it over the radio just a minute ago. Oh, yeah, Chandler. Jack Chandler.
I don't remember driving away from the garage. Kept going around in my brain. Chandler had murdered Stenger. Catherine and I had run away from a crime we hadn't committed. No wonder Chandler had seen the accident. No wonder he feared the police. And now he was dead. His body packed into the luggage compartment of the car.
Elwood, you're not listening to me.
What? Oh, I was thinking about Chandler.
That's what I was talking about. If he killed Stenger, why can't we go to the police and confess everything?
Because we killed Chandler.
But it was self-defense.
Would the police believe that?
They'd have to believe it.
Even if they did, it would be murder in the third degree. They'd learn about the $1,000. I'd be held for trial. We'd never get to Arizona. No, Catherine. We've got to go through with our original plan.
Elwood, that siren.
It's a police car behind us.
What are you going to do?
They may not be after us. If they do stop us, let me do the talking.
Hey, forward! Stop that car!
Don't be afraid, Catherine. I'll handle it.
Uh-huh. Middle-aged man and woman. You answer the description, all right. Name Fitch?
Yes. What's the trouble, officer?
There's an alert out for you. You bought gas back at your garage a few minutes ago. Paid for it with a $20 bill.
That's right.
Got any more of those bills on you?
Why, yes.
Hand them over.
Here. Here they are.
Uh-huh. Looks like it's all here. This is the stuff, all right.
What stuff? What are you talking about?
This money. It's counterfeit. Just like the bill you gave the garage man.
Counterfeit?
Phony money down to the last dollar. Move over. We're driving to headquarters.
Well, that's the story, Detective Farley. You'll find Chandler's body in the back of my car.
Willing to put your signature to this confession, Mr. Fitch?
Yes, I'll sign it.
Oh, you could have saved yourself a lot of grief. I knew you were the hit-and-run driver when I came around to your house. But I needed the proof, and you gave it to me when you broke one of these phony $20 bills.
Well, Did you know then about the money?
Sure. Stinger had a long record as a counterfeiter. His girl told us he was carrying $1,000 in bad money the night he was killed. Naturally, when we didn't find the money on his body, we knew it had been taken by the hit-and-run driver. And the blood on the bumper of your car was the giveaway.
Well, now that you've caught me, what's going to happen to me?
Well, depends on the jury. You might get 20 years. Might get life imprisonment. You might even get acquitted.
I'm in the courtroom now. Catherine beside me, waiting for the decision. The jury just filed in. The judge has asked if they reached a verdict. The foreman of the jury is rising to his feet.
Your Honor, we find the defendants not guilty.
Oh, Catherine.
Oh, Elwood, thank heaven.
I don't know whether to laugh or cry. Oh, darling, you were right from the very beginning. Money or no money, we're going to Arizona.
Well, fooled you that time, friend. Slipped you a happy ending when you weren't set for it. But that jury decision, I don't know. It sounded a bit fishy. But seriously, friends, do you like happy endings? I don't, but then some people do. You know, someday, just to make sure, I'm going to have some research organization take a gallows poll.
Well, Mr. Host, that seems a lot of trouble to go to when there's plenty of proof right in front of your nose that says people love happy endings.
And what is that proof, Mary?
It's the way thousands and thousands of families every day top off delicious meals with delicious Lipton tea. There's a real happy ending for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, folks. Try it and see. In fact, so that you won't forget it, add Lipton tea to your grocery list right now, this very minute. It's the world's favorite tea, and you're always sure of getting tea at its tastiest when you get Lipton's. Because remember, Lipton tea has that marvelous brisk flavor.
A parting word of advice, friends, drawn from the experiences of Elwood Fitch. If your wife wants you to take a trip, don't argue. No, don't protest. Simply bash her on the head and deliver her to the police. You can always say she tripped. Oh, yes, this month's Inner Sanctum Mystery novel is I Hate Blondes by Wolf Kaufman. And next week, the makers of Lipton Tea and Lipton Soups will bring you another Inner Sanctum story directed by Hyman Brown and called Screams in the Night. Of course, there'll be lots of screams. The kind you like, blood-curdling. And there's the usual triangle. A man, his wife, and another girl. But the joker is, he who grasps best, gasps last. Don't get it? And for the details, better be listening to Inner Sanctum next week. Until then, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Let's begin at the beginning of the meal, friends, with the soup. If you want soup to be both delicious and easy to prepare, make it Lipton's noodle soup. Here's a soup that has real honest-to-goodness chickeny flavor. It's full of tender noodles, and because it comes in modern soup mix form, it saves both time and money. Lipton's noodle soup mix is quick to make, and it makes lots more than canned soups, yet costs less. Try Lipton's noodle soup. And tune in next week for another Inner Sanctum Mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
And with the conclusion of that Inner Sanctum Mystery from 78 years ago, May 7th, 1946, that wraps up our salute to that Tuesday, 78 years ago today. When Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox continues, The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring Basil, Rathbone, and Nigel Bruce.
Survival in the nuclear age is a personal responsibility. Are you prepared?
Mommy! Mommy! Mommy, I fell down and cut my arm. Look.
Now, Johnny, you sit right here. I'll get the first aid kit and fix your arm. Lucky for us, I listened to some good advice and packed all the first aid items in one box. It comes in handy for emergencies like this.
Right you are, Mother. In the day-to-day emergencies or great national disasters, preparedness pays off. Take the first step today.
Assemble all the necessary medicines, bandages, a few extra towels, baking soda, safety pins, and razor blades. Wrap them in a moisture-proof covering and place in an easily carried box. It's a good idea to store your first aid kit in the home shelter, so no matter what happens, from Johnny's cut to a nuclear attack, you and your family will be ready.
Remember, a strong defense begins with a prepared family and ends with a protected nation.
Be prepared. Assemble your emergency first aid kit today.
And you can find a number of emergency kits that you might find of interest at the Wellness Company's website, twc.health. That's twc.health. And much of the information you hear on these messages like this, you'll find out more information about civil defense and how it can make a difference in your life by going to civildefensemuseum.com. civildefensemuseum.com. On tomorrow's Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we'll have the great On a Note of Triumph on the VE Day celebration. You'll hear about that tomorrow from 1945. Also, the Screen Director's Playhouse presentation of It's a Wonderful Life, starring Jimmy Stewart. An episode of X-1, Mars is Heaven. And since some of you requested it, I'll bring you an episode of Lum and Abner. We normally will carry either Superman or Claudia, but some of you have asked for a Lum and Abner episode, and so here's one, since I don't have either the Superman episode of the Nitrates shipment, which we'll hear in a little bit here, or do we have an episode of Claudia? So we'll bring you Lum and Abner tomorrow. Right now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we head to Mutual for an episode of The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, starring British actors Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce. This from 79 years ago today, the day before VE Day, May 7th, 1945. This story from 79 years ago entitled The Purloined Ruby.
This episode from the life of Sherlock Holmes will be transmitted to our men and women overseas by shortwave and through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Petri Wine brings you Basil Rathbone and Nigel Bruce in the New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. The Petri family, the family that took time to bring you good wine, invite you to listen to Dr. Watson tell about another exciting adventure he shared with his old friend, that master detective Sherlock Holmes. I suppose your dinner is well over by now, so now's the perfect time to get out a bottle of that swell Petri California port. You know, Petri port was just made for a time like this, after dinner when you're just taking things easy. If you've ever tasted Petri port, you know what I mean. It's a hearty, full-bodied wine with a deep red color and a flavor that's just about out of this world. I think that if you had only one wine to choose and the whole world to choose from, chances are you'd pick port. Petri port. That's how good I think it is. That's saying plenty, I know, but I think Petri port will easily live up to all I say about it. Try it and see, and share it with your friends. You can serve Petri port proudly, because the name Petri is the proudest name in the history of American wines. And now let's visit our old friend, Dr. Watson.
Look here on the patio, Mr. Foreman.
Come on out and join me.
Admiring the sunset, eh, Doctor?
Yes, my boy. It's a particularly beautiful one.
Where are the puppies this evening?
Asleep on a favorite tweed coat of mine that's just come back from the cleaner.
And you hadn't the heart to move them, I suppose.
No, I hadn't. The little fellows looked so comfortable. In fact, I sometimes wonder if you haven't come here to listen to a dissertation on the behavior of dogs.
Well, it is getting near story time, Doctor.
Yes, of course it is. Well, just let me get my pipe properly lighted. That's it. The story I'm going to tell you tonight began in 1909. I received a telegram from my old friend telling me that he was leaving his Sussex bee farm and coming to London for a few days. I haven't seen the great man for several months, so naturally I went to Victoria Station to meet him. As the train drew to a stop, the door of a first-class carriage swung open and Sherlock Holmes, hand outstretched, jumped down onto the platform to greet me.
Watson, my dear fellow, how are you?
Oh, Holmes, my dear fellow, it's good to see you again. I've missed you.
And are you, old chap?
Henry Bates, sir?
Yes, Porter, and get us a hansom cab, will you?
Right, Chalk, Governor.
I wish I'd got a spare room for you.
Don't worry, Watson. I shall be very comfortable at the Diogenes Club. By the way, I trust you're free this evening.
Yes, naturally. What are your plans?
I thought we'd go to the theatre.
Theatre? Oh, what play do you want to see?
Oh, I thought we'd go to the Savoy Theatre and see the Sherlock Holmes play. I hear it's enormously successful.
Yes, I know it is, but I've avoided it. I'm told that Sir Claude Horton takes great liberties with your character, and as for the actor portraying me, my friends tell me it's a travesty. He makes me nothing but a bumbling old fool.
Therefore, a visit to the play might be a salutary experience for both of us. In any case, my trip to London is a response to an urgent telegram from Sir Claude himself. Seems to need my help rather badly.
Oh, what's his trouble?
Well, he wasn't specific in his telegram. He suggested, however, that we attend tonight's performance and discuss the matter with him afterwards.
I see. Well, I suppose if you can sit through it, I can.
Of course you can, old fellow. In any case, you yourself are partly responsible for the play's existence.
How do you mean, Holmes?
Oh, those sensational stories you wrote of my modest problems, I should have seen where they would eventually lead to. In time, no doubt, we shall be portrayed on the cinematograph as well.
Nonsense, Holmes. That newfangled thing's only a toy.
I think not, Watson. We're on the edge of a strange new mechanical world. In fact, I begin to feel a certain concern about the rumored developments in wireless telegraphy. But enough of these predictions. Here comes our porter with a cab. We'll tell the driver to take us straight to the Savoy Theatre.
Just look at that line of people at the box office, Holmes.
Very flattering, old chap.
Well, possibly, but I hope it doesn't mean that we've got to wait our turn and...
Excuse me, gentlemen. You're Mr. Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, aren't you?
Yes.
I thought I couldn't be mistaken. My name is Frank Ferris.
How do you do, Mr. Ferris?
I'm glad to meet you, sir.
Sir Claude has a box reserved for you. He asked me to see that you are quite comfortable.
Very considerate of him.
Will you follow me, please?
Thank you.
Neither of you has seen the play before, I understand.
No, Mr. Ferris, we haven't.
I imagine it'll be a strange experience seeing yourselves portrayed on the stage. By the way, I'm playing the part of an old friend of yours, Professor Moriarty.
Oh, indeed. I'm looking forward to a very entertaining evening. I presume that you escape our clutches, as usual?
Yes, I do, Mr. Holmes. And I've done it nightly now for 137 performances.
Oh, a record that I'm sure Professor Moriarty himself would envy. Had it not been for his memorable demise at the Rackenback Falls.
Here we are, gentlemen. This is the box reserved for you. And now, if you'll excuse me, I'll go back to my dressing room. Oh, I nearly forgot, Mr. Holmes. Sir Claude asked me to give you this note.
Thank you.
No, not at all. Well, I'll see you later.
Very nice fellow for an actor.
Don't be a snob, Watson.
Well, what does the Claude note say?
I'll read it to you. Dear Holmes, since I telegraphed you yesterday, there have been strange developments. In fact, I've been doing some detective work off stage as well as on. Watch the performance tonight and watch the audience, too, particularly the occupant of the box opposite yours. Please come to my dressing room as soon as the last curtain has fallen.
He's being very mysterious, and the box opposite ours is empty.
No. Look, Watson, look. Someone has just entered. Confound it, the house lights are going out.
The first act's beginning, Holmes.
The first act, yes. Well, sit back and relax, old fellow. Let's see what they've done to us.
What did you think of the first act, Holmes?
Huh? Oh, the first act, yes. I was examining the occupant of the box opposite ours. An attractive young lady, alone and unusually preoccupied in her program. In fact, one might assume that she was trying to hide her face.
Yes, but the play, don't you think it's ridiculous? Just imagine a crown jewel being stolen from the Tower of London.
Why not? It's been attempted many times.
Anyhow, you must admit that the actor who's portraying me behaves like a blithering idiot. And Sir Claude's interpretation of you is pretty far-fetched.
Far-fetched, but flattering, Watson. What poise, what suavity, what a voice. I find myself thoroughly entertained.
You're a strange chap, Holmes. No accounting for your tastes.
Look, Watson, look. The back of the box over there.
Good Lord, I could have sworn a man dodged behind the curtains. I don't think the girl saw him, though.
Looked like a foreigner. I think as the young lady's alone, we'll take the liberty of joining her.
Oh, dash it, there go the lights again. The second act starting now.
And sit down, old fellow. We don't want to attract attention. We'll join her during the next intermission.
Yes, who is it? Who are you? What do you want with me?
My name is Sherlock Holmes, and this is my colleague, Dr. Watson.
How do you do, young lady?
I hope you'll forgive this intrusion, but Sir Claude requested that I keep an eye on you during the play tonight.
Please come in and sit down, won't you?
Thank you.
Oh, this is very kind of you.
You must forgive my abruptness just now. When I've just been watching Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson being impersonated on the stage, it's rather startling to have the real couple walk into my bar.
Yes, I quite understand. By the way, just before the curtain went up on the second act, I thought I noticed a man come into the back of this box and then disappear again. Were you aware of his presence?
No, I didn't see him. But I know who it is. He's been following me for weeks now.
Perhaps you'd like to tell us about it, Miss...
Henshaw. Alicia Henshaw. Yes, I would. As a matter of fact, that's why I'm here tonight. Sir Claude Horton's an old friend of my father's. I went to ask his advice. He did some investigating himself for a few days, and then he found himself a little out of his depth, so he decided to telegraph for you, Mr. Holmes. We were going to meet in his dressing room after the performance tonight.
Splendid. And now, Miss Henshaw, what is your story?
It's a strange one, Mr. Holmes, though I didn't realize just how strange until I first saw this play a few nights ago. You see, my story concerns a stolen ruby.
Good Lord, and tonight's play revolves around the same thing.
Exactly. I might as well tell you how it all started. My brother is an officer in the British Army stationed in Egypt. Early this year, he saved the life of a very important native personage in some uprising in Cairo and was rewarded with a magnificent ruby. This jewel he sent to my Uncle Timothy and me. We're the last of the Henshaws, you see.
Did your brother tell you the name of this personage?
He didn't know it, Mr. Holmes. Apparently, the whole affair was hushed up.
I see. Please continue.
Well, the trouble began shortly after Uncle Timothy and I received the ruby. A description of it was published in the papers, and a few days later a message came to us from an Egyptian, Mohammed Ali, laying claim to the stone as one stolen from his family years ago. He sent an expert to our house who examined the ruby under a lens, Mr. Holmes, and then tapped it with a hammer. It fell to pieces. It was a fraud.
Gracious me, an amazing thing.
I'm sure that's not the end of the story, Miss Henshaw.
Oh, no, Mr. Holmes. I wrote and told my brother what had happened. He became very suspicious and suggested that I investigate the credentials of the expert that examined the stone.
I think I can finish the story for you. The supposed expert was a jewel thief who substituted a paste ruby for the real one, destroyed the imitation, and walked off with the treasure. It's an old trick. Of course, you haven't been able to find any trace of the supposed expert.
Well, that's the funny part of it, Mr. Holmes. Uncle Timothy and I gave a description to the police, but it was a very vague one, I'm afraid. All the time, Uncle said the man reminded him of a colleague of his many years ago at the university, a professor of mathematics. He couldn't think of his name, but when we first saw the play a few nights ago, he was reminded of it. The name was Moriarty.
Moriarty?
But Moriarty's dead.
Miss Henshaw, you say you have been shadowed for some weeks.
Yes, by an Egyptian. They've stolen the ruby, Mr. Holmes. Why don't they leave me alone?
That, Miss Henshaw, represents a very fascinating problem, and one that I shall be most happy to help you solve.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr.
Oh,
Holmes.
there go the lights again. The last act.
Yes, the last act of this little play, but not, I fear, of Miss Henshaw's problems. Let's meet after the act in Sir Claude's dressing room, shall we?
Well, Holmes, how did you enjoy the play?
Very much, Sir Claude.
May I introduce my old friend, Dr. Watson?
How do you do, Mr. Claude?
Hi, Doctor. I see you've already made the acquaintance of Miss Hanshaw, and she, no doubt, has told you her troubles, eh?
Yes, Sir Claude. And Mr. Holmes has promised to help me.
Splendid. Tell me, Watson, how did you like the play?
It was very interesting, Sir Claude. Not quite accurate, of course.
Well, you have to allow us a little dramatic license, you know. What did you think of Rodney, the man who was portraying you, Doctor?
Well, since you mention it, I think the fellow needs to study diction. He mumbles so much I couldn't understand a word he said.
Oh, come now, old fellow. I think there are times when you're a little hard to understand yourself.
Oh, rubbish.
Sir Claude, I hope you'll meet us at the Diogenes Club, and then we can go out and have some supper.
Excellent idea. I'll join you there after I've taken off my makeup.
Splendid.
I think I should be going home now, Sir Claude. I gave my address to Mr. Holmes so he knows where to get in touch with me.
Very well, Miss Hanshaw, and don't worry. I shall give your problem my undivided attention.
I'll take you to your cab, my dear.
Oh, there's no need to, Sir Claude.
Nonsense, I insist.
Goodbye.
I'll be back in a moment, gentlemen.
Right, Miss Hanshaw.
Good night, good night. Strange business, Holmes. What do you make of it all?
Very little as yet, but it's a fascinating problem.
Sir Claude really seems to have identified himself with the character of Sherlock Holmes. He gave me the impression that he feels quite capable of solving the case by himself.
Oh, hello. Claude hasn't left, has he?
Oh, no, Mr. Ferris. He's coming back in a moment.
How'd you like to play, gentlemen?
Very much. Your own performance as Moriarty was most convincing.
Yes, indeed, sir. Congratulations. A couple of times there, I had a strange feeling that you really were Moriarty.
Well, that's very flattering, Doctor. Oh, hello. Well, it sounds as if there's some trouble at the stage door. Excuse me.
Come on, Watson, let's follow him.
Right. Hello, it's Claude. He seems upset about something.
Yes. What's happened, Sir Claude?
Oh, there you are, Holmes. I just seen Miss Hanshaw off in her cab when a foreign-looking fellow came out of a doorway and got into another cab. I heard him tell the driver to follow her. I tried to stop him, but he got away.
Must be the same man that we saw in her box during the play.
Sir Claude, we have her address. I think we'll drive there at once and see that she's arrived safely. We'll join you later at the Diogenes Club.
Well, Holmes, here we go. Off on another adventure.
Yes, and one that may give us an opportunity of crossing swords with Moriarty once more.
Oh, Moriarty's dead. He was killed when you and he fell over the precipice in 91.
He was supposed to have been killed, just as I was, but his body was never found. It's impossible, or rather possible, that he returned to pour into the ears of Colonel Moran a story as unlikely and as true as the one I related to you on that April evening in 1894. One can never be sure of death, old chap, until one has touched the cold skin of a corpse.
Dr. Watson's story will continue in just a few seconds. Hardly time for me to tell you about a really great Petri wine. Petri California Muscatel. Did you ever walk through a vineyard early in the morning and pick a big, juicy muscat grape right off the vine? If you've ever done that, then you know what to expect when you taste Petri Muscatel. Petri Muscatel is the color of golden sunshine with a flavor to match. Serve Petri Muscatel after dinner some evening, or serve it any time friends drop in. It's a wonderful way to express your hospitality with a wonderful wine, a Petri wine. And now back to tonight's new Sherlock Holmes adventure. The famous pair have become involved in a strange mystery concerning a stolen ruby, a frightened girl, and an Egyptian who appears to be shadowing her. As we rejoin our story, Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson are standing in a darkened alleyway adjoining the girl's house.
Holmes, look. That Egyptian fellow. He's pacing up and down in front of our house.
Yes, therefore we may assume she's safely inside. Seems to be giving up.
He's coming this way.
Flatten yourself against the wall. Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Who are you, please?
We are friends of Miss Hanshaw, and we're very curious to know why you've been following her.
I'm sorry that I cannot answer your question, sir.
Now, look here, my man. You're talking to Mr. Sherlock Holmes.
You are Mr. Sherlock Holmes? I'm greatly honored to meet you, sir. All my life I have known of you. All my life I have admired you.
Then in that case, perhaps you'll answer my questions. Why have you been following Miss Hanshaw?
Because it is my duty.
What do you mean, your duty?
Perhaps I should have said my destiny, Mr. Holmes. For 2 generations now, the family of Arabi, of which I am a humble member, have dedicated their lives to finding the stolen treasure of Asyut.
What on earth's all that got to do with Miss Henshaw?
The treasure of Asyut is a giant ruby. It was stolen many years ago from the family of Muhammad Ali. A few months ago, Miss Henshaw received a mysterious ruby. I have found out many things, Mr. Holmes. I have many sources of information.
Then I must regard you in the light of a rival detective in this case.
I hardly call myself a detective, Mr. Holmes. My life is dedicated to only one problem. Miss Henshaw now says the jewel was stolen from her. I do not believe it. That is why I watch her. If I am wrong this time, and I do not think I am wrong, then my quest must go on. Always it will go on.
Permit me to wish you the best of luck, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, good night.
Sure we shall meet again.
Oh, why did you let him go, Holmes?
Why not?
He's frightening Miss Henshaw.
But not molesting her, old chap. In fact, it might be a good thing if someone is keeping an eye on her. And meanwhile, Watson, let's see if we can find a cab and get back to the Diogenes Club. I don't want to keep Claude waiting. Porter, has Claude Horton arrived yet?
Yes, Mr. Holmes. He and another gentleman came in about 5 minutes ago. They went up to the library. The other gentleman has just left.
I see, thank you. This way, Watson. I'm sorry, Sir Claude, to have kept you waiting. We took a little longer, but... Sir Claude!
Great heavens, what's the matter with him?
Holmes, I found the answer. Too late. It's...
No, sir. Don't try and stand up. You're ill.
What are you trying to tell me?
The ruby. Moriarty. The answer. The answer's in the book. In the book.
Sir Claude! Holmes! He's been stabbed. He's dead.
Just as he was trying to give me a message.
He was muttering something about the ruby and Moriarty. And twice he said, it's in the book.
Yes, there's a book still in his hand.
It's a copy of the Tales of Edgar Allen Poe.
His thumb's marking a page. The story of the Purloined Letter. Thank you, Sir Claude. You delivered your message. Come on, Watson. We want to catch a murderer and a thief. We must go back to the Savoy Theatre as quickly as we can.
Why do you suppose Sir Claude was murdered?
Because I was too curious. Been investigating the problem of the stolen ruby and had found out something. Something he promised to tell me at supper, you remember? And so he was killed by a man who came with him to the club tonight. Fortunately, he gave me a clue by indicating Poe's story of the Purloined Letter.
But I still don't see how that helps you.
Well, it leads us to the ruby. The premise of Poe's story is that the most obvious hiding place is the safest. Now, what physical object was most prominent on the stage in tonight's play?
By Jove. A ruby.
Exactly. How better can you hide a stolen ruby than by exhibiting it night after night as a stolen ruby before the eyes of thousands?
Well, you mean you expect to find it in the property room backstage?
Precisely. That and a murderer. Wait for us, cabby. Come on, Watson. You have your revolver, old chap?
Yes, I do.
Well, keep it handy. Our visit may not be unexpected. Unlocked. That's good. Come on.
Look, Holmes, look. The doorkeeper. He's slumped over his desk.
He's been given chloroform. We'll take the liberty of borrowing his lantern.
It's an eerie atmosphere about a dark and empty theater, isn't there, Holmes?
Now, where would the stage properties be kept, I wonder? Hold the lantern a little higher, will you, old fellow?
Yeah.
That's it. Look over there.
A large cabinet. It's marked Property Department.
And it's unlocked. Oh, this is frighteningly easy. Let's look out for a trap. Now, let's see.
Look. There's a ruby lying on that tray.
Yes. Hold it up under the lantern, Watson. Exactly. It's as I thought. This is no paste stage property. It's a genuine ruby. In the light of this lantern, it's very hard to... Down, Watson, quick!
He nearly got us. Smashed our lantern.
Yes, he's got an air rifle. A powerful one, too, confound it. There's no flash to indicate where he's firing from. Of course, he's baited his trap so neatly that he knows exactly where we
I'm
are.
going to take a shot at him. I can't see anything, but at least it'll let him know we're armed.
Now, move your position quickly, Watson.
Just missed me, Holmes. This is hopeless shooting in the dark.
Yes. I've got to switch the stage lights on. Keep him occupied, old fellow, will you? While I try to find the light switches.
I've got him. But he can still shoot, confound it.
Yes, well, I found the light switch. Keep your eyes skinned, Watson. I'm turning it on.
There he is, Holmes. Up in that box.
Getting away. After him, Watson. You can jump over the footlights into the box. I'm afraid the bird has flown, Watson. I should have remembered that theater exit doors always open from the inside.
No, he didn't get away, Holmes. Look on the floor there. It's that Egyptian fellow.
I hope you haven't wounded him too badly,
No,
old
I don't
chap.
care if I have. He was trying to kill us. No, it's only a shoulder wound. He's fainted, infernal scoundrel.
No, he's a very gallant man. Undoubtedly, he was trying to save us as you shot him just now.
Holmes, what on earth are you talking about? Obviously, he's Moriarty.
No, Watson. Moriarty just escaped through the door you heard clang a few moments ago.
And what's this man doing here?
As a fellow detective, undoubtedly he followed us. Perhaps he preceded us. When Moriarty started shooting, this man tried to capture him and got wounded by you for his pains.
Then who is Moriarty? He must be someone connected with this theater.
It's obvious. Moriarty is Moriarty.
What? You mean Frank Ferrers, the fellow that played the part on the stage?
Again, remember Poe's story of a purloined letter.
But why didn't you recognize him?
Oh, remember, I haven't seen him for 20 years, and you haven't forgotten his genius for disguise, have you?
What incredible audacity.
How better could Moriarty conceal himself than by announcing nightly to the theater-going public that he was Professor Moriarty?
And he killed Sir Claude.
Of course he did. Sir Claude must have persuaded Moriarty to go to the club with him. Probably he hoped to expose him in front of me, but Moriarty found out that Sir Claude knew too much. Yes. So he stabbed him. Rushed back here to bait his trap for us.
Yes. But how did he know that we'd walk into it?
Well, he knew that if Sir Claude had guessed his secret, then I certainly would, and so he was waiting for us.
Hello. He's coming too. How are you feeling, my man?
The ruby. The ruby. Did you find the ruby?
Yes. Here it is, sir. Tell me. Is it the ruby of Muhammad Ali?
No. It is a fine stone, but it is not the one for which I have searched all my life. And so my endless quest must go on and on.
He's fainted again.
Poor devil. Fine mess I made of this case, Watson.
Oh, I don't know. You've recovered the ruby?
Yes, look at it, old fellow. Before I turn it over to Miss Hanshaw, look at it well. Probably its every facet stands for a bloody deed.
It's a beautiful stone.
And yet this lovely bauble has cost Sir Claude his life.
And that devil Moriarty still goes free.
But one day, Watson, and may the day come soon, I shall meet Moriarty again. And when that happens and I finally bring him to justice, then and only then can you write fini to the character of Sherlock Holmes.
Well, Doctor, that was kind of an exciting story. Tell me, did the Egyptian recover from his bullet wound?
Yes, indeed you did, and rather quickly, too, Mr. Foreman. I felt very badly about shooting him, but of course I couldn't help it.
Of course not.
But, you know, if I had to shoot someone accidentally, I wish it could have been the actor who portrayed me on the stage. Wretched fellow mumbled all over the place.
Oh, don't worry about that. After all, you did recover the ruby.
Yes, and a beautiful stone it was. The color of, the color of a fine glass of port when the light shines through it.
By a fine port, I take it you're talking about a Petri port?
Is there any other kind?
Well, all kidding aside, Doctor, Petri port, like all Petri wines, is good wine. And I can tell you why very simply. Petri took time to bring you good wine. You see, the Petri family has been making wine for a good many generations, since way back in the 1800s. And because the Petri business has always been family-owned, everything the family has ever learned about the art of making wine, they've been able to hand down from father to son, from father to son. That adds up to a lot of skill and a lot of experience when it comes to turning plump, juice-filled California grapes into clear, fragrant, delicious wine. So when you want a wine for any occasion, obviously you can't go wrong with a Petri wine, because Petri took time to bring you good wine. And now, Dr. Watson, what story do you have lined up for us next week?
Now, let me see. Next week, Mr. Foreman, I'm going to tell you a most unusual adventure that occurred to Sherlock Holmes and me early in the last World War. It took place in Flanders and concerned a famous British general, an actress, and a German firing squad.
Boy, that sounds like a real thriller. Well, see you here next week.
No. Not here, Mr. Foreman, remember?
Oh, of course. Next week, we're going to be at the Paramount Theater in Hollywood for the 7th War Loan Drive.
That's quite right. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't invite you all to my home for one of our broadcasts, but we can get together next week at the Paramount Theater in Hollywood. You can get a free ticket for our broadcast by buying a war bond. And I sincerely hope that you will do this, so that we can see you next week at this time.
Tonight's Sherlock Holmes adventure is written by Dennis Green and Anthony Boucher and is based on an incident in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle story, The Adventure of the Second Stain. Mr. Rathbone appears through the courtesy of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Mr. Bruce through the courtesy of Universal Pictures, where they are now starring in the Sherlock Holmes series. The Petri Wine Company of San Francisco, California, invites you to tune in again next week, same time, same station.
Oh, the Petri family took the time to bring you such good wine. So when you eat and when you cook, remember Petri wine.
To make good food taste better, remember...
Petri
Bill Foreman saying goodnight for the Petri family. Sherlock Holmes comes to you from our Hollywood studios. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And from 79 years ago, May 7th, 1945, The New Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Visit our webpage, classicradio.stream. Stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of our own. You can find our social media links there, and if you'd like, you could buy me a copy to help us acquire additional classic radio programs and help us keep the doors open here, if you will. That's at classicradio.stream. Coming up next, we'll go back 75 years for the case of the New Jersey Yeggman, an episode of Gangbusters.
Information could be your lifeline to survival during enemy attack. Are you prepared?
4 whole days. How much longer can it rain like this? Bill, is there any news?
I don't know. The road's washed out. I couldn't get to town. Phone working yet?
No, neither is the radio. If only we knew whether the dam's going to hold.
Hey, how about that battery-operated radio of mine in the den? I'll bet that's still working.
Radio has always been a source of quick information during a disaster. However, in case of attack, radio's beams could help guide enemy planes to their target. That's the reason CONELRAD, the emergency system of broadcasting, was devised. When you hear the alert signal, tune to these CONELRAD frequencies, 640 and 1240 on your regular radio. During a national emergency, all power lines may be cut off. To make sure you receive the necessary information and instructions, keep a battery-operated radio in your family shelter.
For survival information, know these frequencies, 640 and 1240 on your standard radio.
And a battery-operated radio is something every household should have in case of emergency. And part of the reason I support so strongly the radio in AM radio in every car act that's in the Senate right now. Quite frankly, because it's the first step toward eliminating all free radios from automobiles. And I know this is a political opinion, and some of you don't like this, but quite frankly, in times of emergency, the internet will go away. Ask the folks down in and around the Gulf Where does their internet go? Where do their cell phones go? They disappear. You can't get a signal. But AM and FM radio, they work on being there. Alrighty, let's go on now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox to an episode of Gangbusters. 75 years ago today, May 7th, 1946, the case of the New Jersey Yeggman.
Gangbusters, presented in cooperation with police and federal law enforcement departments throughout the United States. The only national program that brings you authentic police case histories. Tonight, Gangbusters presents the case of the New Jersey trio, whose nocturnal audacity netted them a fortune, until one misstep before dark shed light on a dozen 50-cent pieces.
Gangbusters has asked the Honorable John B. Keenan, Commissioner of Public Safety of the City of Newark, New Jersey, to narrate by proxy tonight's case. Commissioner Keenan.
Thank you, and good evening, Gangbusters listeners. Suppose we begin tonight's case in the city of Newark, New Jersey, just a little over a year ago. It was 7:30 on a bright sunny morning when a big hulk of a man stepped as lightly as he could toward the door of his attic flat on Milford Avenue. He stopped when he reached it, listened for a moment, then took out his keys.
Mary Jo. Mary Jo.
Get out of here.
Hey, now, sweetheart, baby.
I told you to get out of here. The next one's gonna hit you.
Baby, doll, now don't get your feathers up.
Leaving me sitting in a bar all night alone, practically, waiting for you to show up. I ought to scratch your eyes out.
I was working, baby.
I don't care what you were doing. You were supposed to meet me. I was never so embarrassed in all my life.
Baby, doll, it was a last-minute deal. We were sitting around, and Yak says, come on, fellas, I got just the thing for tonight.
Yak says this, Yak says that. Yakety, yakety, yakety.
Honest, Mary Jo, that's just the way it was. I couldn't get near a phone.
They got phones and airplanes nowadays, and you got nerve enough to tell me on dry land you can't get near a phone.
Baby, doll, look, how much dough did I have last night? $50, $100? Tops, $100. Well, look at this. Does this look like $100?
Blue, honey. Blue, that's a fortune.
Hey, you see? Didn't I tell you I was working? Where would I get all this scratch if I wasn't working?
Okay, I believe you. Come on, give.
Oh, Mary Jo.
Give, Blue.
Baby doll, a man's got to have money in his pocket.
Give.
Yeah, give. All I do around here is give. Here. But I had 100 to start, at least 100.
20, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100. There's your 100.
Thanks. I work all night, and what do I get for nothing?
I'm putting it away for a rainy day.
Yeah.
You sure Yak gave you all that was coming to you?
What's the matter? Ain't that enough for you?
I don't trust that Yak, you know. And you're just stupid enough he could give you a short count.
Listen, Tony and me were right there when it was counted out. And who's stupid?
You are. You got a strong back, but a gimpy head. I'll bet you were looking out the window when Tony took the money out of the safe.
I was not. There wasn't no windows. The place was air-conditioned.
Yak and Tony are a couple of slick operators, Blue. You gotta watch them.
Now, listen, nobody can put anything over on me. Now, look, baby doll, it was some job getting that safe open. I'm starved. Have you got a little breakfast laying around?
I have not.
Oh, baby doll.
You got your clothes on? Run down to the diner.
Look, make breakfast, and I got a present for you.
Yeah? What kind of a present?
Will you make breakfast?
Let's see the present.
All right. Here, I got 12 of them.
What's that? Counterfeit?
It is not. That's a good American $50.
Yeah?
Uh-huh.
Sounds okay.
Only Yak says they're worth $5 apiece.
Oh, who'd be crazy enough to give $5 for a 50-cent piece?
Yak says they're collector's items from the Columbus expedition. They didn't make very many of them, so they're worth $5 apiece. There was 36 of them in the safe. We each got 12.
All right. Let's have.
Will you make breakfast?
Let's have, Blue.
Yeah. Hey, baby doll. Tony says he's going to keep his good luck charms, he says.
Good luck charms, huh? Oh, A 50-cent piece is worth $5. That's a twist.
Well, maybe it's inflation or something.
Maybe. All right. Come on in the kitchen.
Thanks, baby doll. I'm starved. Really starved.
Lieutenant Flynn, Bandit Squad.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant O'Byrne.
What did it look like, Tom?
Like a safe job ought to look. They pushed in a back door, went upstairs to the office, knocked the combination off the safe, jimmied it open, and got at the cash.
Uh-huh.
It was a pretty hefty box, Lieutenant. Must have taken him a good part of the night.
How much was in it?
Well, I haven't figured it up exactly yet. Somewhere around $1,500.
All they took was the cash, huh?
Yep, all cash, Lieutenant. But there's one item of cash that might help us.
Oh, yeah? What's that?
Well, the office manager collects coins. He brought 36, Columbian Exposition commemorative $50 to the office the other day. Somebody wanted to buy them, so he stuck them in the safe. Well, they're missing with the rest of the cash.
Now, those $50 a pretty rare item?
Rare enough, he says, especially 36 of them in one lot.
Yeah. That might help, Tom.
And the office manager's got a list of collectors and dealers and that sort of stuff.
Good, bring it in. We'll get in touch with all those dealers and ask them to be on the lookout for a flock of those $50.
Now listen, Yak, I can't ride around all night. I gotta meet Mary Jo.
What are you worried about, Blue? Let her wait.
Let her wait. You don't know Mary Jo. Tell him, Tony. Tell him how she is.
What's the matter, Blue? You're big enough to handle that twist. Mary Jo, she gets sore. You apologize. You give her a kick in the face.
The guy's got no sympathy.
There it is, across the street.
You mean the restaurant?
Yeah. The office is on the second floor.
Uh-huh.
My information is every night 2 big sacks of dough go upstairs and into the safe.
Yeah.
They take them to the bank in the morning.
Are you sure they ain't got no burglar alarm?
I'm positive.
Yeah? What makes you so positive, Yak?
Well, they figure they don't need it.
What do they figure? They're immune or something?
Why spend the dough for protection when there's a police station just down the block?
Yeah, but how do we get... Police station? Where?
Look down the street.
Now, wait a minute, Yak. Don't you think the joint's just a little risky? Police station, it ain't 50 yards from the place.
And there's cops coming and going all night.
That safe is loaded.
Maybe so. But I want to know, can we make it?
I don't think we can make it. Not with the police station so close.
Listen, Blue, you just use the muscles, huh? Now, we'll have to work fast and quiet, but I think we'll be okay.
For when?
What's the matter with tonight? After the place closes?
Why not? I got it with me, my good luck charms.
Hey, fellas, not tonight. I promised Mary Jo a good time. She's getting all dressed up.
Have your good time some other night.
Guys.
Listen, Blue, wife or no wife, when we got a deal going, nothing interferes. We work good together. I don't want no outside influences influencing the operation. It's set for tonight. Well, we'll drive around town a while until they get the joint shut up.
Why do you guys always make me trouble?
We'll stop someplace, Blue. Get the lady on the telephone. Tell her you're going to be busy.
Tell her I'm going to be busy.
Yeah, sure, Blue. Why should those two care? Have Yak and Tony got wives waiting someplace for them?
Now, baby doll.
Leaving me sitting and waiting again. Ooh, just wait till I see.
Listen, Mary Jo.
What's it have to be tonight for? There's 7 nights in a week. Why tonight?
Baby doll, Yak wants to do it tonight. Yak says there might be 10 grand in that safe. He thinks there's a good chance.
10 grand?
Yeah, Yak says so, maybe.
Well, Blue, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to go out tonight. I'm kind of sleepy anyway. We can make it tomorrow night.
Oh, that's good, baby doll.
But you be sure and see that those 2 monkeys don't give you a short count.
They won't. And
bring it all home. Every penny.
Okay, make it fast, Tony. Get in the doorway.
Yeah.
Now, let's get that door open.
I think maybe with the back door it would be safer, Yak.
Safer, maybe, but the front is easier. Go on, make snappy.
Yeah. I don't like working on the sidewalk practically either.
Get it under the lock.
I'm doing okay. Let me handle it. Okay, just a few.
Hold it.
What?
A couple of guys.
Cops?
I don't know. Stand close against the wall.
Yeah.
So I take my car down there. The guy looks it over top to bottom, under the hood. He examines the upholstery, and I ask him... Wait a minute. Have you got a light? Sure. And I ask him how much will he give me in a trade. Thanks. So? Oh, he says 1,100. 1,100 I can back it. You know what to put into this car? I can't let it go for 1,100. How much will park in this new car?
Didn't I tell you those $50, they was good luck, huh?
Get to work on the door.
Do you think they were cops?
What difference does it make? They walked by, didn't they? Get it open.
That police station, she's awful close.
You'll be inside it if you don't get that door open.
Yeah, there it is.
Good, Tony. Go on, you get upstairs and start to look around. I'll go to the car and get Blue to bring the tools.
Well, gangbusters listeners, this gang of safe burglars, led by the daring James Yak Denter, had broken into a darkened restaurant not 50 yards from Newark's 2nd Precinct Police Station. Before the night was over, a 500-pound safe gave them the fright of their lives.
And here again is tonight's narrator, Commissioner John B. Keenan.
Well, this gang of burglars found that breaking into a restaurant not 50 yards from a Newark, New Jersey police station was not so difficult as opening the safe upstairs on the 2nd floor. They had been at it for nearly 2 hours and were still working hard.
All right, Blue. Tony's got it set in there. Lay on it with the sledge again.
Okay.
Again.
Brother.
Hold it just a second.
Well, Tony, what do you say?
You don't budge, Yak.
Listen, Yak, maybe we ought to give it up. We're making plenty of noise here for 2 hours and with the cops right next door, practically.
How about it, Tony? Can you get it open or can't you?
With these tools? No.
I think we better get out of here.
That's a good idea, Yak.
We'll get out, but we'll take the safe with us.
Take it with us?
Sure, why not?
Oh, no, not me.
What's the matter? This thing should only weigh about 500 pounds. We carry out bigger boxes than this.
Yeah, but not down a flight of stairs like that, and not with the police department for neighbors.
I'm not passing up this kind of dough. We'll take the safe out with us. Tony, go turn the car around. Pull it up in front of the door downstairs.
Okay, yeah, right away.
Well, thank goodness this thing's on rollers anyway. That makes it a little easier. Come on, Blue, let's push it.
Yeah. Let me ask you something, Yak.
Yeah.
How are we going to get it down all those stairs?
We'll get it down.
Yeah? And the cops. Suppose some of them are walking to the station house or drive.
We'll be all right. Okay, hold it here. Now, let me figure this out.
You know, that's an awful big thing to get down those stairs, Yak.
Yeah, I know. We can't carry it down, that's a cinch.
Do you really think there's that much dough in there?
Yeah. What are you going to do with yours? Yeah, step at a time, I guess.
Oh, I don't know. Give it to Mary Jo, I guess.
You're kidding. Not all of it.
Yeah, she saves it for a rainy day, she says. She takes every penny. Listen, we ain't got all night. How are we going to get that safe downstairs?
I'll push it from the back. You support it.
I support it.
We'll let the wheels and back rest on each step, see?
Yeah.
You hold the front up. I'll get in front of it.
Okay. Push. I got a hold.
All right. Okay?
Yeah, but I don't know how long it'll be okay.
What do you worry? We only got 20 steps to go. Get set.
Okay, push.
All right.
I can't hold it.
Don't let it fall.
Grab it, help me.
Okay, don't get excited. Hold it.
I can't. Holy jump. Right out the front door.
Come on, fast.
Yeah, let's get out of here.
At least we got that thing downstairs.
The cops will be here fast. It's sitting right out in the middle of the sidewalk.
Step right through the door, but watch your fast.
Yeah, watch.
Come on, fellows, hurry.
Get in the car. Let's get out of here, Tom.
Safe goes with us.
Yeah.
It's no problem. She lands on the wheels. Push it. Go on. Let's go.
Let's go.
Over the back, Tony.
Yeah.
All right. 3 of us together. Left to right. Right.
Oh, come on. It's no good.
Shut it down. Tony, get the car and pull when we're done.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, come on. All right. Lay on it, Blue. Come on. Come on, guys. Come on. Push him. That's it. A little more. Okay. Let's go.
Here comes a couple of cops, I think. Walking.
Come on, get in.
Look at those cops.
They're walking up on us, Jack.
Oh, brother.
What's the matter? Shut up.
They're coming yet, but come and get it started. Yeah, come on. Oh, wow.
Oh, Lieutenant. Yes, Tom? The bookkeeper upstairs just finished a preliminary count on what was in the safe. How much? A little over 6,000. What a haul. Yeah, not bad for a night's work.
Any sign of fingerprints up there?
No, not a thing. Nothing except the tools.
They won't help us much. That safe must have come down those stairs with some force. Car knocked the door frame clean out.
Yeah, must have sounded like an earthquake.
That's going to give us a little trouble, Tom. I know the papers. They're going to play up how close this thing was to the precinct house.
These guys just had a lucky break. I bet there's a squad car or a couple of patrolmen pass this store on foot every 5 minutes all night long.
That's not going to be any answer. The only answer will be to get them. Come on upstairs. I want another look at those tools they left.
Who is it? Blue?
No, it's Jack. Open up.
All right. Hello.
Where's Blue, Mary Jo?
Out someplace.
That's too bad, isn't it?
It's not so bad.
No?
Sit down, Yak, and wait.
Why not?
Do you want something to drink?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
What?
You got a glass of milk?
Milk?
Yeah.
Oh, now you're kidding. I got rye, gin, beer.
I like milk.
Okay. If you like milk.
Wait a minute, I'll go to the kitchen with you. What time did Blue say he'd be back?
He didn't say.
Oh, here, let me.
Oh, much obliged.
It's all right.
You know, I could wait 4 years for Blue to open the door for me. Well, how do you like that? We have got milk. You sure now?
Positive.
4 years I could wait.
Blue's not very bright, is he?
Well, no. But he's generous.
Yeah, so he tells me. Yeah, it's good and cold.
Blue is a very nice type of man to have around. Everything I want, I get.
I know. He told me he gave you the whole 2,000 from the restaurant deal.
I'm saving it for a rainy day. Most everything he earns, I'm saving for a rainy day.
His rainy day, yours.
I don't understand.
I mean, are you waiting to get all you can from Blue and then fly someplace?
That's an insult.
What do I care what's between you and him?
All right. Yeah. I'm waiting to get all I can. Don't you think I earned it?
Maybe you did, Mary Jo.
I'll say I did. Now, what's the real reason you're here?
To see Blue.
Is that so? Blue told me you sent him downtown for something.
Is that so?
You bet that's so.
You know, you're a pretty cute kid.
Do you really think so?
I said so, didn't I?
You want some more milk?
No. No, thanks. I know my limit. Oh, before I forget it, when Blue gets back, tell him we got a little deal on tonight. Tell him to meet Tony and me at the usual place. Call's in the booth there, Mary Jo.
Thanks. Oh, I could kill him. Murder him. But murder him. What is it, Blue?
Listen, Mary Jo.
Don't you know this is Saturday night and I'm in a tavern trying to have a good time because you don't have the decency to take your own wife out like a gentleman?
But, Mary Jo...
So what's the idea of disturbing me?
Now, listen, baby doll. We were out on the job. Tony stuck his hand through a window in the alley trying to get in the supermarket. He cut himself pretty bad.
So, what do you want me to do about it? Take him to a doctor.
Well, Yak says he can't go to a doctor. Yak wants you to fix Tony up.
Oh. Oh, he does, huh?
Yeah, baby doll. Will you, please?
All right. Bring him to the flat. I'll meet you there.
Oh, Mary Jo, that's great. I'll never forget this.
Okay, bring him to the flat before he dies.
Get me one more drink, will you, Blue?
Hold still there, Tony. How do you expect me to get your bandage up if you're squirming? Tell him to hold still, Yak.
Okay, I hold still.
It don't look as bad as I thought, Tony.
Don't look good to me.
What do you know?
I wouldn't have cut myself this way except my good luck charms. I lose them someplace.
Those $5 half dollars, huh? Well, they are. As good as new.
Now could I have one more drink?
Yeah, if...
I'll get it. I could use one myself. Anybody else?
I'll go with you. Have a glass of milk.
Sure, Yak. We're loaded with milk. Help yourself.
Thanks. Say, Mary Jo.
Yeah?
You think you can get away from Blue for a while tomorrow afternoon?
I don't know. Why?
Oh, no reason. I just thought you'd like to do a little, Sunday driving with me.
Why, Yak, I'd love it.
Okay. Pick you up about 2 o'clock.
Lieutenant Flynn.
Hello, Lieutenant. Sergeant Tom O'Byrne.
Yeah, Tom?
Listen, maybe we got a break. The 3rd Precinct desk sergeant just called me. A kid walked into the station house with 12 of those Columbia Exposition half dollars.
Where'd he get them?
Well, he was on his way to Sunday school and found them in an alley behind a supermarket out there. They were all in a little chamois bag.
Behind a supermarket?
That's what the kid said.
Was the supermarket broken into last night?
Oh, we got no report of it, Lieutenant. They're not open today.
Well, meet me down at the garage. We'll run out there and take a look around. Right now.
Okay, Mary Jo. We can get rolling again.
Well, this has certainly been a fine Sunday afternoon ride. I thought you were going to take me out in the country for dinner or someplace.
I like to ride around in town, Mary Jo.
And what was the idea of stopping here and getting out for a walk around the grocery store and leaving me sit in the car?
I had to look at something in the back of the supermarket.
What kind of a good time do you call that? And all the trouble I went to get away from Blue.
I'll tell you what, Mary Jo. I'll take it back to him right now.
Oh, now you're going to do me a favor.
No. I'm going to do Blue a favor.
Well, this supermarket won't be no trouble now. We did most of the work last night.
Yeah, Tony, and I found something of yours right under the window here this afternoon. Yeah.
My lucky charms. I must have dropped them last night.
Come on, guys, let's get inside. What are we standing here talking?
Okay. Here you go up, Tony. Boost them up, Blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you get through?
Yeah, it's a cinch. Okay.
We'll go around front. Open the door for us. Come on, Blue.
Yeah. You sure are smart, Yak. Riding by here this afternoon with Mary Jo and taking a look.
The neighborhood's empty on Sunday. There was a good chance nobody even found what we did last night, so I thought I'd say.
Yeah, that is smart. I thought all that work last night was down the drain.
Nothing's ever down the drain with me, Blue. And, I want to give you a piece of advice.
Yeah? What?
I've been learning a few things about Mary Jo.
Yeah? Ain't she a sweet kid?
Like I said, we're a good combination. I don't want anything to happen to it.
Oh, nothing will.
Get all your dough back from Mary Jo, then throw her out.
Throw her out? But, Yak...
She's fixing to leave you, so you might as well beat it to the draw. It's Tony. Come on.
Listen, Yak, what are you talking
Just
about?
do what I tell you.
Yeah, but...
Go on, get in.
Welcome, gentlemen. All right, get him up, both of you.
No, not me, you don't.
He's got a gun.
Okay, here it is. Here's a gun. Don't shoot.
The next one will be right at you. Now, all of you, keep them up.
Okay, I'm through, believe me.
You're through, all right. Now, go on. Get over against that wall with your partner, both of you.
Go on. Move.
Against the wall. Go on.
Well, Gangbusters listeners, Newark detectives, after discovering evidence of an attempted burglary, reasoned the safecrackers might return to finish the job. So they planted the Colombian half-dollars where they were left and waited for the burglars to show up again. James Yak Denta received a maximum sentence of 28 years and Tony Palumbo 21 years in New Jersey State Prison. Their accomplices received lesser terms.
Thank you, Commissioner John B. Keenan, for this most interesting case history. And gangbusters, congratulations to all the officers of the Newark Police Department who participated in the investigation leading to the arrests and convictions. Tonight's case was dramatized by Stanley Niss and directed by William Sweets, with Ann Thomas and Ralph Bell in leading roles. Roger Foster speaking. Gangbusters is a Phillips H. Lord production.
75 years ago, May 7th, 1949, Gangbusters here on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Tomorrow, on a note of triumph, the Screen Directors Playhouse production of It's a Wonderful Life, X-1, Mars is Heaven, and Lum and Abner. But right now, Superman.
Survival in the nuclear age is your responsibility. Are you prepared?
Tommy! Tommy, help me carry in these groceries.
Oh, gosh, Mom, you're going to have a party? Man, look at all that food.
Hands off, young man. That's our 2-week emergency food supply, and it's going right into the shelter.
For 2 weeks following an enemy attack, you may have to survive without outside help. You will be forced to depend on the supplies you have on hand.
When buying for your emergency supply, choose foods that will provide a well-balanced diet. Be sure to include mostly canned and dried foods that can be eaten without cooking. Store at least 7 gallons of water per person. Change the water every 6 weeks and rotate the food supply at least twice a year.
Remember, a strong defense begins with a prepared family and ends with a protected nation.
Be prepared. Store your emergency food and water supply in your home shelter today.
And it doesn't matter whether it is nuclear disaster, whether it's a supply chain crisis, any of that stuff. Check out civildefensemuseum.com, civildefensemuseum.com. That information's still vitally important. Now another episode in the continuing drama of the nitrate shipment, an episode of Superman. And this episode from 83 years ago, May 7th, 1941.
Presenting the transcription feature, Superman! Guys, look! It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Superman! And now, Superman, strange visitor from the planet Krypton, who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men, and who, disguised as Clark Kent, mild-mannered reporter for a great metropolitan newspaper, wages a never-ending battle for truth and justice. When we last saw Kent, he and Jimmy Olsen were being held at gunpoint in the cabin of a foreign agent aboard a ship loaded with nitrate bound from Panama to the United States. With them are 2 English passengers, Dr. Michael Barrington and his daughter June. The ship is to be sunk at midnight, and as time passes, Kent realizes that in order to save the lives of all on board, he will have to assume the role of Superman, even though it means revealing his double identity. Then suddenly a ray of hope gleams. Young Pug Flanagan, forgotten in the excitement, has gone to the captain with a report that Kent and Jimmy are missing, and that something strange is going on aboard the ship. But the foreign agent, leaving his henchman Hans to guard our friends, has followed Pug to the captain's quarters disguised as an elderly lady. Listen.
What's that?
Someone is knocking at the door.
Good evening, Captain.
Buenas noches, senor.
Oh, there you are. Oh, me? Yes. We have been looking for you. We are having a little party in my cabin. Mr. Kent is there and Jimmy. Well, I'll be. We sent one of the waiters to find you, but he said you refused to come.
You see, it is nothing at all.
You mean to say Mr. Kent and Jim are in your cabin? Uh-huh. We are having a lovely time. Won't you join us? Oh, sure, but why didn't the waiter tell me instead of getting tough? Oh, he probably didn't understand. Doesn't make any sense to me, but I suppose it's okay. I'm sorry I bothered you.
It is not.
Good night, Captain.
Buenas noches, senora. Buenas noches.
Mr. Kent and Jimmy will be very happy to see you. How long have they been in your cabin? Oh, just a short time. Ain't it kind of late to be holding a party? Oh, no, not on board ship. We plan to have a big blowout at midnight. A very big blowout. Sounds like a storm coming up. Yes, it does.
Now I must be careful going down these steps. I'm not as young as I used to be.
I'll help you, lady.
Oh, thank you.
Just take it easy. That's it.
Oh, you're a perfect little gentleman. There we are. Well, my cabin is at the end of this corridor.
Wait a minute.
Why, something the matter?
Yeah, plenty. You ain't no dame.
What do you mean?
Just what I said. You're just wearing them clothes to make out you're an old lady.
What in the world are you talking about?
Listen, I wasn't born yesterday. I had a hold of your arm coming down them steps. You got muscles like a man.
And I know how to use them, too.
Let go of me.
Not this time.
Oh, no.
Kick me, will you?
Yeah, here's another one.
I'll fix you. Stop.
Two guys like you couldn't hold me.
Come back here. You won't get away.
That's what you think. Try chasing me in that skirt. Go ahead.
When I get my hands on you...
Don't make me laugh.
Got away. He was right. Can't run in this outfit. Well, it just means speeding things up a little. Pants, open. You found him? Close the door. Well, I found him, but he got away.
Oh, boy.
You won't be so happy in a short while. Go up on deck, Hans. Keep a sharp lookout. We won't wait until midnight. I will make contact immediately and tell them to come ahead.
What is your hurry?
The boy knows I'm not an old woman. Every minute counts. Give me that gun.
You're having a chance now. You'd better give up.
When I need your advice, Mr. Kent, I'll ask for it. Until then, keep your mouth shut. Go ahead, Hans.
Yeah, I go.
Now I want to warn each one of you that from this moment on, I'm a desperate man. If I fail in this mission, my life means nothing. So you see, I have very little to lose. Don't move. If you do, it will be the end for all of you.
But even as the message that will hurry the doom of the ship and all on board crackles through the air, Hug Flanagan, having made good his escape, realizes that the situation calls for quick action. Unwilling to trust even the captain, he has equipped himself with a length of rope and is determined once and for all to find out whether Kent and Jimmy Olsen are being held prisoners in the cabin of the bogus old woman. Clutching his coil of rope, he slips silently to the deck above the cabin, reaches the rail, and leans far over.
That's the porthole right below. I can see it lit up. All I gotta do is tie the rope to the railing, shinny down, and take a look. I wish this tub wasn't bouncing around the way it is. Oh, I gotta hurry. That storm's gonna hit us soon. There, she's tied enough. Can't take a chance of her slipping. Because if she does, I'm a dead pigeon. Okay, Flanagan, over you go. Wow, almost lost my balance that time. Gotta be careful. Maybe I better tie the end of the rope around my middle, just in case. Yeah, that's better. Now to shinny down to that porthole. The wind's blowing. Can't hear me. This is gonna be a cinch. Just a couple of feet more. Hey, wait a minute. The porthole's open. I don't want to stick my foot through it. Better slide over a little. Yeah, that does it. Well, I hope nobody spots me when I look into the porthole. Gotta be careful. Easy now. Easy. Holy smokes. There's Mr. Kent and Jimmy and that white-haired guy and his daughter lying up against the wall. And that phony dame's got him covered with a gun. What'll I do? I can only bust the light and give Kent a chance to sock him in the dark. Yeah, but how am I going to do it? I know. A rubber band and a nail. It's just as good as a bean shooter. It'll be tough shooting if I'm hanging on to this rope. But I think I can do it. Up you go, Flanagan.
While Pug climbs back up the dangling rope to go in search of a rubber band and a nail, the atmosphere in the cabin of the foreign agent grows more tense by the moment. Facing what he believes to be certain death, Dr. Barrington maintains a stony silence as he watches his daughter's wan, pale face for some sign of her cracking under the strain. Even Jimmy, accustomed to danger, seems to have given up hope. Only Kent is alert, for he realizes that unless a miracle happens, he will soon have to reveal his true identity and take matters into his own hands. Outside, the wind howls past the open porthole as the ship plows through a heavy sea to its doom.
The storm's going to break soon, Mr. Kent.
Sounds that way, Jim.
I wonder what happened to Pug. I think by this time he'd have notified the captain.
Don't waste your time thinking about it.
I bet he didn't get away. I'll bet you did something to him.
Perhaps. What difference does it make?
It makes this difference. Thus far, all you've done is threaten the lives of innocent people. But I warn you, if any harm comes to that boy, you'll suffer for it as you've never suffered before.
Wouldn't you call that rather an idle promise? With you in the position you are in?
I won't be in this position long.
Your confidence is very refreshing.
It's beginning to rain.
Yeah. Would you mind closing the porthole? Miss Barrington is getting wet.
Not at all. Oh, I see. It's just a ruse to divert my attention for a moment. Close it yourself if you wish. No, wait. On second thought, I think it should remain open. Yes, leave it open. I may want to look out in a hurry. A little rain won't hurt Miss Barrington. She might just as well get used to being wet.
How much longer have we to wait?
Not long. 10 or 15 minutes.
Then what?
Then I leave you to your prayers.
I haven't bothered to ask, but I assume the plans are to torpedo this ship.
Your assumption, Mr. Kent, is quite correct.
Don't you think it would be the decent human thing to do to permit passengers and crew to get away in lifeboats?
Unfortunately, that is not possible. There must be no survivors to tell how the ship went to the bottom. That you can well understand.
I can understand only one thing. That men like you don't deserve to be called human beings.
You seem to forget one thing. I gave you ample opportunity to avoid being a part of this. I warned you once before we sailed and once after. What more could I do?
What about Dr. Barrington and his daughter?
They are enemies.
No use, Mr. Kent. It's no use talking to him. Poor Pug. I'm sure something happened to him, or otherwise he'd have brought help.
Easy, Jim.
Only 10 more minutes.
Stay right where you are, Mr. Kent. Don't move.
Now listen, I don't know your name and I don't care to know it. But I'm giving you one more chance to act like a human being. What you do with this ship is none of my business, but what you do with the people on board is my business.
I'm warning you, Kent. Don't try anything.
Look, someone's at the porthole.
Down on the floor. Get down.
Orange tongues of flame stab the sudden darkness of the cabin, darkness that enables Clark Kent to become Superman and hurl himself bodily at the armed agent. But in a momentary lull in the storm, the sound of shots reaches the ears of Hans, standing at the ship's rail. Alarmed, he runs along the deck, only to stop short when he reaches the spot where a rope has been tied to the railing.
What is this? A rope dangling over the side. Someone climbing up it. Good thing I brought the flashlight with me. So, it's that skinny kid. The one who got away from me. You, boy.
What?
Don't bother climbing any higher. I'm going to cut the rope.
No.
And when I do, you will drop into the sea.
Please.
Too late, my boy. There it goes.
Pug's plan to shatter the light bulb and throw the cabin into darkness seems to have worked, but at a terrific cost. Can Kent, even as Superman, save the courageous boy from the dark, storm-swept sea? Don't forget to tune in next time for the thrilling conclusion of this story with Superman.
Tune in the next thrilling installment of the transcription feature, Superman.
Up in the sky. Look.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. It's Superman.
Superman is a copyrighted feature appearing in Action Comics magazine.
And you'll hear that next episode of Superman coming up on Thursday's Classic Radio Theater. Tomorrow, on our Wednesday edition, we will have On a Note of Triumph. We'll also have Screen Director's Playhouse, It's a Wonderful Life, X-1, Mars is Heaven, and Love and Abner. On Thursday, we will have the Lux Radio Theater presentation of My Man Gottfried, an episode of The Great Gildersleeve, Jack Benny, and another episode of Superman and the Nitrate Shipment. Visit our webpage at classicradio.stream, and we will see you the next time we get together here for our Wednesday edition of Classic Radio Theater. I'm Wyatt Cox.